invincible.
Coming like a Hellcat. Coming like a Hellcat. Like a Hellcat. Coming like a hell. Like a Hellcat.
in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you, 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 won't you let the light shine through? In the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
Hello PUBG Esports fans. The Pick'em Challenge is back, and just in time for PUBG Continental Series 2, with some new improvements to make earning those great rewards even easier. That's right, starting with PCS2, we've extended the Pick'em Challenge event and increased the number of matches, allowing you more time and opportunities to collect the points you need to earn awesome, unique rewards. You'll also be able to earn more free voting coupons than before, while having opportunities to earn esports points just by watching our live PCS2 broadcasts. The PCS2 Pick'em Challenge takes place from August 19th to September 8th for PC fans, and August 27th to September 8th for fans on console. During this time, you can check out real-time tournament standings, information on participating teams, and player stats in the Esports tab in-game. After PCS2 finishes, you'll be able to spend your earned EP in the Esports shop from September 15th until the 23rd. The shop is filled with exclusive PCS2 themed skins you can't get anywhere else, so make sure you spend your points while you can. Like before, the Pick'em Challenge is divided into two games, Pick the Winner and Team Face-Off. Pick the Winner lets you predict the overall champion from each region. You can only vote for each team once, but with a 100,000 EP prize, you're looking at up to 400k if your prediction game is on point. You'll need to use a voting coupon to cast votes for this game, which can be earned by purchasing PCS2 gear in the shop or through one of the free methods we'll talk about later. 25% of each PCS2 item sold goes directly back to the teams via evenly distributed direct payments and by bolstering the regional tournament prize pools, so you're getting cool stuff, increasing your odds to win even more cool stuff, and helping your favorite PUBG esports teams in the process. Team Face-Off is a game where you predict which of two teams will perform better in an upcoming matchup, and plays a little differently than PCS1. It's still a free game that doesn't require any voting coupons, but EP prizes will not be weighted based on how many votes each team has gotten. So it's up to you where to risk and where to play safe. Catching the intense PCS2 action live is its own reward, but you can also increase your Pick'em Challenge odds by watching live. Just like PCS1, codes will periodically show up on screen during the broadcast. Enter these in-game quickly, as only a certain number of people can claim each one. We'll also be giving out coupons and EP on Twitch through Twitch Drops. Twitch Drops are currently only available for Steam accounts and can only be acquired by watching on Twitch. To participate, make sure your Twitch, Steam, and PUBG accounts are all linked. You can get started easily by visiting accounts.pubg.com and logging in or creating your PUBG account if you haven't already. From here, you'll have easy access to link your accounts. Once linked, you can earn one free voting coupon and up to 20,000 EP just by spending time watching the PCS2 action live on Twitch. During the stream, you'll also be able to participate in quizzes that randomly appear on the official twitch.tv/PUBG channel. Answer correctly, get rewarded. PCS2 is happening soon, so familiarize yourself with the teams and plan out your strategy. All 4 PUBG regions are participating, and you can vote on them all. The more you watch, the better your odds of scoring unique skins for your own matches. PUBG Esports, PCS2, and the Pick'em Challenge. Get in on the action today.
Do you want to try and take blue here? If I run to the rock now and pick for you guys?
How many is it?
I only know one car went in there. I hear one suppressed SLR shooting.
Let's do it.
Bize kafa yandı.
Farm'a gidiyorlar, farm'a gidiyorlar.
Semih,
Evet.
ben burada duruyorum. Sen
Çift
merdivende.
sıfır varsa alırım Can.
Tamam, okey. Geliyoruz. Araba. Geldik.
Info.
Just come upstairs. Be clear from upstairs.
We are.
That's
He
it.
might be outside.
Follow.
Nice knock.
Two guys, massive. Care about nades. I think one behind the sack now. One behind the sack, I think I heard.
Okay, I'm nading it.
Farm darlıyor bunları. Neyi atıyor?
Molly
Only
upstairs.
upstairs.
Kulübeye
Siz mi
attım.
attınız motofu?
Ben atmadım.
Motofu ben attım.
I'm nading behind sack. Can you nade left corner of sack?
Yeah, nading.
I don't see anyone.
One is Shack, I'm pretty sure.
One behind the mansion. One behind the mansion.
Yeah, 2 man, so 1 sack, right? There's no way that he's behind sack.
Knock on mansion, no.
Right.
There's one more I think. One first floor.
Running out 3 of you.
But no one is behind sack, you can confirm, right?
No one behind shack.
Can we leave and go gyms here? Is that Yeah. possible?
Beyler arabaya atlayıp gidecekler. Gidecekler.
Bug'in tekerini aldım.
Hala orada, ikisi de orada.
The buggy is really bad angle to me to leave. Okay, I'm trying. Yeah, it's really bad.
Knock bir tane.
Oynadım. Gel.
Oyna.
Let's kill them now. We have to kill them.
They're pushing.
Dışarıda hala.
Sağ köşede, sağda. Semih sağda.
Çok iyiydi o da.
HS'ydi.
Benden de yedi.
Ölüyorum.
Gel
Beni
gel
tut.
push.
Beni tut. Ölüyorum.
Tuttum ben tuttum.
Helal.
What a fantastic glimpse we just got into that fight there between Team Liquid and Blaze from our final weekend. But welcome, this is the final weekend here of PCS2 EU. My name's Kyle Harris, your host throughout all of this. And you know what it's time for? It's time for Team AFK, because it's me, it's Froz, it's Avenger. Didn't say it in the right order, but we are back. We are ready to go, and we have got ourselves the last 2 days here to break down for Europe. Avenger, Froz joining me. Avenger starting things off. I'm excited, man. The last 2 days, it's time.
Yeah, I am ecstatic, honestly. We have a very, very stacked lobby here, and a lot of teams still have a chance at it. FaZe is looking extremely good, of course, and we can't take that from them. And I think a lot of teams and a lot of players expect them to play extremely well here in the last days as well, as they usually do when they kind of wrap up the tournament.
And of course,
even if they're...
Sorry, go on, Froz.
Even if they're sitting in the top right now, you'd still have Shift W and Ants just in the back right now. You gotta be careful about that, because we see them playing really good so far. And if they continue that, I mean, anything could happen. We saw Navi in the last week in there, or the last day, only getting himself 3 points, for example.
Yeah, definitely. Let's take a look at those standings here, as we have FaZe still up towards the top. Shift W actually in second place, and Ents has continued to be strong, playing their kind of safe play style, Martin, that has worked out for them quite considerably this tournament.
It has for Chicken Dinner so far, as we see on the right side of their points, and that's really impressive to me, actually, that they're able to kind of continue this strategy, even though I would like to see them also focus a bit more on the kills. I mean, they've got a good amount, but 20 less than Shift W and nearly 30 less than FaZeland is quite a substantial amount. That would have put them in a really good spot in terms of the total points if they have continued that. But a lot of our Chicken Dinners is in the top 3 amongst those guys, but still a lot of the teams are still in the 100-point club. Omakan, Liquid, and Navi. Even though Navi had a rough time last week, I still think they're going to be able to push through and maybe get into a top 3 today.
Ross, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if we look at Ents, for example, they have 4 wins, of course, but 3 of them comes from Miramar itself. So we're going to be looking at them on the first 2 games to make sure if they can grab those wins and those points that they actually need. We also see that they're sitting on 50-50 when it comes to placement points and kill points. And this is something that is quite unusual for sitting up there having that kind of split, because we normally talk about how it's 70% kill points and 30% placement points. But as we know, they're playing very defensive, and because of that, they tend to get a lot of placement points, but not as many kill points.
Yeah, definitely so. And of course, throughout this next 2 days, we're going to be crowning ourselves a winner currently. FaZe is looking very good when it comes to our projections moving forward. And speaking of winners here for the weekend, some people might be thinking, hey, where's Toby? Well, actually, today he's very much so winning, as today is his wedding. So a huge congratulations to Toby. And I'm sure, we'll be able to talk to him later on in other tournaments and see how things sit. But Martin, FaZe, 75% of the projections so far. That is bonkers.
It's absolutely nuts, honestly. But also, you can see in game how many of the players around the world have voted on them. They have a massive amount of votes of the EU part. I think it's above 75% actually. So they have the community support and votes as well. They did play extremely well, and I'm really excited to see how far they're gonna be able to push it to this tournament here. I mean, they have my vote as well. I've voted on some of the other teams as well, just to be sure, obviously. But they've been playing extremely well from the very start. And as I said before, they're usually able to wrap up tournaments quite well as well.
Froz, when you look at FaZe throughout this tournament, obviously I feel like it's been a little bit of a while now since they've really got themselves a big trophy. But is this theirs to take? They've looked really good these past couple of weekends.
I mean, I gotta say, if there's anyone to lose this PCS, it would be FaZe Clan. Sitting on the top right now with an 18-point lead. We're talking about EU here. We have a super stacked lobby. Having 18-point lead is actually a lot compared to some other regions, I'd say. So right now they're sitting in a very good spot, but it also comes down to how they're going to be playing it. They can easily get a few one-point game here or there, and that would break them down, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. So, Froz, what is that box in the background rotating? What is that? Yes.
That's my watches.
Oh, it's a display case for your watches. I didn't know what it was. Yeah. I'm sorry, it was mesmerizing me. I had to know. Anyway, back on topic with PUBG. When we look down, in that top 5 as well, a team like Team Liquid, Martin, obviously we just saw it in that previous clip. Sometimes they've not had the easiest of times by any stretch of the imagination. However, being above the 100 points club, even above someone like Na'Vi, who did really well in the group stages and well at the start of this, is kind of impressive. So maybe they're back on the horse, as we've said before.
Yeah, and I gotta say, their first weekend was not fabulous. It was quite well a disaster, and they actually had a better weekend last week than FaZe Clan did. But even though that they had a better week, there's still a good amount of points behind. If they continue what they did in week 2, and if they continue that in week 3, I'm expecting them to actually kind of contest for second place because they had a really good week. They managed to get a lot of points, managed to get a win or a few wins actually. One win. I think they're going to be able to really step it up here if they continue how well they're able to play last week.
All right, let's talk predictions then for the day, the week, for the day, I think even it is. So I'm going to start with Froz. What have you got for me, Mr. Frozzy?
Well, Avengers just touched a little bit. I'm going to go for Liquid, and the reasoning is, of course, we saw them have a little bit of a rough first week, but they came back strong last weekend, and it's looking strong. They know what the problem is, and we saw them coming out really strong last week, I'd say, with how they changed up their playstyle a little bit.
Okay, Martin?
Well, so I think since it's kind of the last week here, and I think we're going to see our future champions really take it away already today. I think we're going to see FaZe going to have a really fabulous day here. I think they're going to be able to perform quite well in the 30s, maybe 40s point club here, and then they're going to put themselves quite a substantial amount of ahead of the rest of the groups, rest of the teams going into tomorrow. So FaZe is my pick for today.
All right, and my pick for today is TSM, actually. Despite not being in the 100 points club just yet, I think that our previous PCS2 champions, PCS1 champions, there was no previous PCS2, are going to come back strong. I think that they're going to be able to do well for themselves, considering how mechanically gifted that they are as a team. So that's how I see it. What do you think, Ryan? Do you think my pick's okay? I think my pick's okay.
I think no matter what you're picking, you're cursing them. No, jokes aside, I think they're gonna do well as well. And I think you have quite a good amount of insight yourself. I think predictions in a battle royale is usually hard, but we've been pretty on point, honestly. Obviously, picking some of the favorites and some of the teams that are very well respected and very experienced, but picking it on the day is quite hard, and we've been quite on point. So I'm curious to see how well our 3 teams stack up today against each other.
One of the almost, and not necessarily a wild card for us, but a team that has done, I think, surpassed people's expectations considering they've been out for a little while, is Shift W. They're in second place right now. 126 points here, doing very well for themselves. And considering that they're second in this lobby of big dogs, that's an amazing performance by them so far.
100%. I mean, it comes down to how they like to play the game. You see them do this crazy 1-1-1-1 splits all the time. And we're talking about even the late circles. They start out pretty early with those splits, but they keep on doing them later on in the game as well. And they keep so much map control because of that. And we see them doing some of the nice rotations as well. Make sure they're going to play a place where maybe not as many teams would play, but they played so well that they have so much control. They can basically do whatever they want. Well, I think it was last weekend we saw them having Brexco not connecting in one or two of the games as well, and they still kept on getting so many points. They only have one bad game where they have 1 point. That's the worst game. Except from that, we're talking about 3-4 points is their worst game. So they always manage to salvage points as well.
And of course, whilst everything's been going on, people have been involved at home as well. They've been sending in some of their videos with the hashtag PCS2Fan. Let's take a look at some of the people that they're voting for.
Играйте в PUBG, смотрите PUBG. Болейте за ваши любимые команды, ну и до встречи на полях сражений.
You know it's all about FaZe on Sunday, baby. Let's go.
Go FaZe Clan for the win. Stay safe.
What did I just see at the end? Hello. Okay, we're back. Great to see some of the kind of support coming in from some of these players here. As you know, Gustav's just got to scratch his nose, I suppose, before getting into these games, representing FaZe. But right now, they are the front runner, Martin. And to go on the point that you were making before, it is going to be difficult for the people to topple them off of that first place spot here this weekend.
Right, it is. And looking at 8C and Uber here, our number 2 and number 3 in current kill leaders, 26 and 25 kills. Also, the most damage is on screen right now. You saw their Uber with more than 5,800 damage across these games so far. Really, really impressive. Only beaten by, in terms of kills, actually by VAD with 28 kills from TSM. So really impressive for these guys to really step it up here and have 2 guys in the top 3 for FaZe Clan.
Patrick, we're going on to Miramar. What are your thoughts going in? Any other teams you want to talk about before we start our first game?
I don't know. I feel like this is going to be Ants kind of map. We know that they have 3 wins on Miramar, only 1 on Erangel. So I feel like it's going to be Ants kind of slow play, and we'll see them towards the end as always, and maybe clutching that little chicken dinner as well on top of it.
Yeah, some of their slow play has been brilliant. But at the same time, we have seen some of that slow play, Martin, kind of fall down. If I'm thinking about people like Batulin's having himself a whale of a time with grenades as they're trying to find a certain dip. You can find these dips, but you've got to understand that they come with the caveat of a few grenades are going to spoil your day in these situations, Martin.
They come with the caveat? Yeah, sure. The nades come with caveat sometimes. It depends where you buy them. I mean, who's your supplier and stuff. Sometimes it comes with caveat. No, jokes aside, yes, I have enjoyed how Ents have played. But to bring it on to Battlins, I mean, Northern Lights have had somewhat rough tournament. I'm really... I don't want to say disappointed, but I'm underwhelmed by their performance so far. I think these guys have been able to really perform against some of these teams extremely well in the past, and I'm curious to see how they're going to be playing here in the last week. And I hope they're going to be able to step it up and really regain their former form. And yeah, we'll see how able they're going to be today.
Yeah, definitely so. It definitely feels a little unfortunate for Northern Lights this tournament for us, considering the position that they're in right now. We expected Northern Lights to come out and just be like, we're in the top 3 and nothing else is really going to touch us. However, it's not been that way this turn. Do you put that down to anything, any way they've been playing or so, Froz?
I mean, it's kind of weird because we saw them in the group stage just because before this, when they got themselves a 4th place overall as well. So them stepping into the finals, I'm not really sure, but them getting only 59 points so far, and 48 of those coming from kills, it kind of tells the story, right? They're going a little bit too aggressive. They're going a little bit too much on the kills early on. They lose people, and they're not able to stand up later on in the game because of that. And that is something that we might see from more teams today, trying to push it a little bit, making sure that they get towards the top. And because of that, they might be overcompensating a little bit in terms of trying to get more aggression, more kills than they should get. Because they want to get towards the top. But what you want to do is keep on playing your own game, focus on what you normally do, and don't try to just get the win with like 20 kills.
Yeah, there's some potential validity in that, of course, Martin, because there are so many teams right now that have to play a massive catch-up game, and what better way, I suppose, than trying to actually go super aggressive, right?
Yeah, for sure. But also there's a huge prize pool to chase as well. Our top 4 is different. You know, our top 8 is different compared to our bottom 8. So there's really a lot to chase for as well. So you want to try to contest that still. I mean, even though Blaze 56 points right now, up to 8th place 88. With a massive weekend here, they could potentially push themselves into 8. I know it sounds unrealistic, but you know, with a good amount of circle lock and everything going with you, you could really get a good week and get, you know, a 50-60 point week and potentially push yourself in. So I think everybody is able to push themselves into a new part of the prize pool and maybe gain a bigger share.
All I want is ridiculous circles. That's what I want to see here for the next weekend. But of course, we're going to crown ourselves a champion here, and we are going to be getting onto our first game of Miramar here for the weekend. A huge thank you for joining us around the world. It is time to head over to Sims and Pansy for our grand finals action.
It is indeed Pims o'clock, and yeah, we're super excited about this. I can, echo the statements. And you know what? It's good to see Froz. I never thought I'd say it, Rich, but I've missed him.
He always brings some style to the desk, doesn't he? Where's those snazzy? You'll probably only get the Noel Edmonds style shirt.
Yeah,
that's
I
a good thing
understand what you
not
mean.
to be questioned, but you know.
They're fruity. They're very fruity, very Swedish. Very. We love to see it. I can barely wear anything other than a t-shirt, let's be honest. So I appreciate the style. The watch thing, very distracting in the background. Thank you for clarifying, James, what that weird thing in Bob was. But let's bring it into the action, because we've got a lot to talk about. But let's kind of start at the top. The easy start, obviously, Fuzzface with the new haircut. You mentioned it last time around. I paid more attention. Very Ragnar Lothbrok looking, Viking full in charge here. Maybe the push for the finals he needs. But Fades are doing well, but there's a lot of teams on the way up. Ents being one of them, Shift W being one of them. They're the easy go-tos here, but then, go slightly further down, and there's plenty of other teams around that area. Where's your mind in this one? Who's leaning furthest forward? I mean, Fades is the easy answer, right? But let's look at the teams chasing, potentially.
I suppose it gets a little bit harder for anyone like FaZe Clan, given their position in that type of circle with only 50% landing play. But yeah, let's... It's tough at the top, right? I mean, the best thing about FaZe is they're giving themselves such a huge buffer. I say it's a huge buffer. It's not massive. It's maybe 1 or 2 games maximum, but it does account for those times where you will go out in 16th with no kills. It's the backup plan. So having that extra little amount of points just to be able to work off the back of a failed game, then I'm okay with that. And I think it's a good little safety net and a bit of an insurance policy, if you will. Everyone else, I mean, when I've been kind of looking at these tables, I think from 12th onwards, it's a bit of a shot in the dark to get up there. It's 70 points surplus to what FaZe have on them. So anyone between 12th and 16th, for me, is a bit of a problem for all the other teams because they just won't care at this point. Given the fact that, I say won't care, there are, opportunities to grab a few more pounds. You want a couple of quid, you want a couple of dollars, crack on. Then you can jump up the league table. But for that, they might go a bit wild. They might start to go heavily aggro. They might play really unorthodox PUBG, and it's something that a lot of teams now need to be aware of. Hence, Shift W. Look, it's for Shift W, I mean, hell, all the cards have just fallen on the table in the perfect manner. I'm quite surprised that they've done this well. I knew it was a good team on paper coming into this, and we could see what they were formulating from the qualifiers to get to this competition and the placements that they were putting up. But second place going into grand finals weekend is a phenomenal achievement. I think they've done so damn well.
Yeah.
There is still that little thing, Lauren, in my mind where I just think back to all the tilt factors that I've seen come out of certain members of this roster back in the day of PEL, but it's a new roster and it's a new time, so maybe that doesn't come through.
Yeah, I really want to echo that sentiment. Bear in mind that I know these guys for Shift W weren't 100% in PUBG for a little bit. They dabbled in other games for a bit. They took some time. Obviously, rosters here and there, but it does feel as though they've come back. I don't want to say stronger, but they've come back in a really good fashion, which is excellent to see. They've managed to kind of pull themselves back to a very good spot. Na'Vi, again, with the orange edition, was quite something to watch. They've been doing well. This tournament, though, has been a little bit... Hit and miss. I think sitting in, I think they're 6th, right? So just out of the top 5, but they're not doing badly. They're doing just fine. Yeah, they are 6th. And as I said, a couple of points away from Liquid, a couple of points away from Omicron. Bit of a jump up then. The top 3, I'd say, is a little bit disconnected from the others. You got, top 3 and then 4th to maybe... Ooh, I don't... At a push, maybe Tornado Energy. And, again, fine margin 6. All these teams are playing pretty well. I think the big shame to me, and we've looked at the top, I want to look at the bottom, which is Northern Lights. I was hoping it wasn't an extended honeymoon period, which it felt like it may have been, or it's a bad tournament. But the thing is, when I look at Northern Lights, and when they were good, the genetic makeup of what made them great isn't something that depends on, one individual having a good game. It helps when Batulins is having a nutty one, but the way they played was excellent. So I'm a bit worried if that's fallen off, if maybe teams have worked it out a little bit, put a little bit more time considering what they're doing, because, as said, they kind of shot to the top quite quickly, and they maintained for a while, but they didn't have that big title by their name. They weren't the FaZe, they weren't the Liquids, they weren't, holding those big titles, and we were hoping that maybe this could have been it, but it really hasn't been.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good description of how it works with them. It wasn't a hit or miss team. They've been firing on all cylinders, and they've been looking solid throughout this year. And then to turn up to this tournament, and just, they've not performed whatsoever. They're a shadow of the former self. And maybe, it could be the fact that everyone has started to... Oh, it's a fair amount of damage, so we'll hold on that topic for a second. And TG are the first contact. I think Omicron want to put the points on the board because they are a team who's up there in that top 5 and vying for that #1 spot. Thankfully, the safety net's there for the opposing compounds. So they can at least get themselves back. But yeah, for Northern Lights, it's a shadow of its former glory. And I do believe that it is teams just understanding how they play, because the communication and the map movement for me is still one of the biggest. I don't speak Russian, so it's hard to talk on the communication, but there isn't no way in God's world that you could do what they do without direct and very, very solid, strong communication, because someone's always ahead of the curve. Someone's always in the circle. Someone's always in that one position, which gives them a good leapfrog to the next circle, no matter where it is. But so far, that's been shut down time and time again, and whether or not the circles have been good or bad against you, it doesn't... To me, that doesn't constitute a 15th placement.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
and
I'd
also,
say teams have had, like...
I don't think the... Go on, carry on.
No, I'm just saying, like, teams who may have had a tough time circle-wise, you could maybe look at Na'Vi or Tornado Energy, a couple of the teams who play on the further out points. That excuse can be used, but when we're up to match, 17... we move away from that, I feel like that's, if it is just one of those quick tournaments where it's like, oh, there's only, 5 days of play, it can happen. It hasn't been that. This has been a long slog to this point, right? This is where, if there was going to be a switch up, you do more than what they've done. I mean, their total points is less than the kill points of the almost top 8. So you know what I mean? Like, there's definitely a problem happening there. I don't know what it is. Hopefully they can resolve it, though. Let's just kind of briefly touch on the circle, because it is a very southern lean. You kind of alluded to it with, FaZe obviously going to have a little bit of a longer run in. But central points, south of Los Leones, just slightly west, I guess, to the Omicron starting point. And honestly, this is a great circle for the likes of Omicron. They always do well here. Liquid could have a very good start, but we do look at the likes of FaZe, potentially the teams slightly further out who are towards the top, who might have a slightly harder time, but FaZe probably quite accustomed to this by now. Hopefully they don't have a bad start here. You'd like to see them carry on in that fine form we saw. Vazku, I keep 2 of them somewhat humble, and the pull-up is actually going to happen. So they're in this one. Now, it is shareable. Don't know if you'd want to. And for Omicron, they only have 2 of their players in this position. They were in that 2-2 split, Rich.
Something must have been noted in order to make this call to actually stop off and share a compound. Regardless, they won't know it's Omicron just yet because they won't have seen the kill feed and no one's gone down. So that level of info as to what team it actually is, and in no way... Oh, wait, so that could be problematic. If Omicron go down, that'll leave them 1 player reduced. T-Bone, decent one as well. I say decent, they're all pretty decent on this roster at the moment. Now, Batulins can actually cause problems on 2 different fronts here. Having an angle onto FaZe Clan. Probably doesn't want to shoot too much. The second that he looks that way, and Uber's like, don't even look at him. Don't even think about it whatsoever. It might put, if they eventually realize that this is Omicron, they are 1 man down. That could be the go sign. There's not too much room that they have within these two broken garages. It's a bit difficult to get round the back from first position, but he is that kind of player who'll happily anchor on the back and allow his teammates to work around the con. It's not too much anyway, but still, given how these two compounds play out against one another, Omakan's opting to disconnect from it completely. Clearly, the Bejempty, I'm assuming, who has wandered off, has found a better position for them.
Alright. Let's have a little, keeping track, 'cause that's a lot of water, Rich. We're in a 50-50 here. Quite early on, too. And of course, these teams now have worked out how to play these circles so well, even in the worst scenarios. So 63 players in what's a 50% circle availability is rough. So is Chris's driving so far, but he's pretended that's exactly where he wanted to park and move up. So Melman and Alia are the two that have made it here so far. The rest of Tornado Energy a little bit further behind, but that might have kind of shielded their intentions for now. But the miss is going to certainly ring alarm bells. They know what's happening, and Chris has to be ready for this. Has to play it right, because Shift W were moving up. Brexico's not with them, so this is 3 of the team, but that's going to help out. A great molly to the window. Melman trying to move up, but Zocca's pushed the molly. That is sick play from Zocca. Absolutely love it. Very aggressive, very to the point. Takes just a touch of damage, but for the value he receives, it was worth it.
Clearly they got the information that this team wasn't at its full roster, and they could breach onto this side and maybe take one scalp for them. They do so, and they remove one, but the rest of them have come to the aid of the players in the back buildings. So now they can play off of that, and it is a long building, so you do have those choke points downstairs. That is an absolute long ball of a nade. Does find its target. I can see Ibiza is cycling through, so if he opts to find the second one, that will land its target and strike perfectly. Vard going down, and TSM, a team that I was going to touch on with the next few minutes of, I want to see a super day coming out of them. That's not the greatest of starts by losing your helmet so early on for Vard. Wandering away and crawling, hoping for his teammates to at least put the smokes down and be able to get the resuscitation. With something like that, we'd usually say, pushing the knock, blah, 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 blah. But with it being grand finals, you'd anticipate a few of these teams, and I suppose you got to look at the lay of the land on that one as well. With it being so open, you won't just go flying in. But I'm kind of anticipating for this weekend a lot more sharpened gameplay, a lot more strict.
Yeah.
Following the rules of your captain and everything else that goes alongside it, rather than just blowing out and just cracking on. You might get that from the opposing end of the table when they're looking for, just a few points here and there, not really giving a damn. But the upper echelons should be playing extremely strict PUBG.
I agree, and I think that's the way you'd want to play it. But I think there's also going to be that necessity or the maybe unwanted desire to get kill points. Martin was saying on the desk how ENCE, even though obviously they're doing well, they are lacking kill points in that regard compared to the teams around them. Now, it's very easy to fall into the trap of, oh, well, we'll just go for it. Focus on kills as well as trying to get that placement. Of course, you obviously want both, but it's not how it works against these sort of lobbies. And I'm glad that Froz brought up the idea that people could be almost too hungry for it. They could potentially overstep because of it. It's something that could potentially happen. Now, that aside for now, we are seeing Orange and Besto on foot and Vazku in the same position, and Na'Vi are pushing this one. Senya's just rolled up nice and quiet, so not giving away the full game, and we know that Omakan are down to 3. Vazku hits the deck, hits the throne, gets the first shot, gets the kill. No flush to follow just yet, but I like this adjustment from Vazku. Moves around slightly, so keeps them guessing just a touch, and actually I quite like the angles he's working with.
What I like about this particular... Oh, you know what? We'll just hold, because this one could continue onwards if they do decide to
He's got the off
push
angle.
it further.
That's lovely. Oh, he wants to push up
with Orange. You could see him going for it, couldn't you? With two players. I mean, that's a beautiful little overpeak to return that fire and knock him down his backside. Orange still standing his ground, though, trying to commit to the flushes, and why the hell not? Senya does the damage. And just like that, 2 of our top 6 teams go toe-to-toe, and one of them, placed in 4th, goes down and out in 16th. That's, this is one of those moments where we look at it and think, okay, well, the teams at the top, if they're finishing towards the bottom, this starts to open things up. I know it's only one team, yes, but still, it starts to open things up a little bit for those that are in the middle pack.
And I'm glad I just saw it in the kill feed, because I saw Northern Lights weren't that far away. They were next team, so you could just see a couple lingering around. Now, it's not just Northern Lights. You got Shift W very close by. Now, keep in mind, if you look at Na'Vi, Omakan, and Shift W, that's very top-heavy. Now, Northern Lights, you'd argue, would normally be up there if it was, what we'd seen in the past, but it's not been the case. So there could be more threats on this front. I think it's kind of simmered out for now, but that's something we've got to look at and keep our minds towards that. we know the operational highs of someone like Northern Lights, and I hate to bang on about it, but it's an uncharacteristic finish. If it was, you know, your FaZe or your Na'Vi in that position, would do the same. So you've still got to be careful with them because they're a very deadly team. Now, Shift W getting on the board as well towards Tornado Energy. That's slightly further southeast, away from Brexco. We saw that end of the Shift W hold. This is the other. This compound had been contested over for a while. That initial pull-up, roll your mind back to it. And now with the knock, they might get curious. They've got good weapons for it. Barrel on there, nice little hollow as well. So Killia Kai is going to go have a little look, have a little peek, and that's what you want. A gorgeous molly. If that goes in the right place, they're going to be in all kinds of trouble.
No bodies have actually been found for this one, but you know what? The breach will actually try to go through. Example on the backside is instantly eliminated. Chris actually steps back and allows his teammates to push this one, and Alia, now the last man standing, has the hell of a lot of work to do. But the question is, do they realize on the roof, once they check this balcony area, they then will, doesn't matter. Jimbo strikes from a distance and snipes him off the bird's nest.
Okay, Rich, can I be honest with you? When James was on the desk, you know, talking about why Toby's not here, blah, blah, blah. Obviously getting married. Honestly, knowing Toby, I'm really surprised he had his wedding on a potential PUBG day. You know that he sat there with it on his phone, right? They're doing the sermon, whatever, you know, they're having a chat about it all, you're gonna be together forever, etc., etc., etc. He sat there like, hell, looking, what are you doing? You know, he's having a right time, a doozy. Oh, you couldn't ask for anything better to be doing this with. He had support from Udir then coming in as well, bystanders. Might be bystanding this game coming past as they're already losing out on 2. Make it 3. This is not looking so good for them. Short and yellow, we love the icon, we love the logo, we love the combination. It's very cute, but now just Beamy is left alive.
It was a nice little setup. Put one down the bottom of the hill, and the rest of them just collapse from the side. Do a serious amount of damage. Then let Udir try and mop up. They've only got 1 kill out of it so far, so they need to make sure that these frags are actually converted into points. Don't let them get stolen away, and if there are any that are bleeding out at the side, I mean, they're okay when you look at that and you can see them. No one else is behind there. We'll have vision on it, but unfortunately, out of the frying pan and directly into the fire, it's the line of fire from Offstring. Up high in the bell tower. Should be an easy kill if his teammates do want to work this with him. They'll understand that it is going to be one solo play. Actually, Offstring's on his own, so maybe he doesn't push this as aggressively as what I anticipate, but we do have the Wanderer left-hand side. Should soon coming to vision of Beamy. Yes, he does. Quick 1-2 to the helmet. It should be a GG.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest, right? I was playing a little bit of DayZ today. I've been watching Summit and Shroud, and it's you know, lit a fire again. I play it anyway. I'm pretending it's a reason. Having trigger discipline in these moments is so tricky because you always feel that moment's gonna go away, and it kind of has here. Beamy has made the escape, but it will fall probably into hands of Wanderer. It does. But yeah, trigger discipline is such a cruel mistress because you're sat there, you're like, okay, all I gotta do is land these 2 shots. He'll stand still soon, right? Soon. Nah, these guys are so good at just staying on their toes. You don't get easy shots against these players. Now, the players I play against, it's mostly my fault. You know, I got very angry today, died because of a bug. I rage quit for a bit, need to cool down for a while. But these players are a little bit different on the other hand. They're certainly looking very sharp today. They've been putting up their warm-up hours. Senya's just been caught off as well. We did consider that Na'Vi Shift W fight coming through. So Shift W, very present across the board. Oh, Offstring. I didn't know we were doing donuts today, fine sir. And yeah, Na'Vi seem to be the punching bag of the lobby at the moment. They're losing players, they're getting knocked, but I don't see too many flushes yet.
Talk about it at the start of the next game, but I've been playing with Froz for the last week, so we got raided today for the first time. It was very fun being inside and hearing people at the door shooting and shouting abuse through the walls. Anyway, Apocalypse should find ends delivering 3 points to them. They do pull up on the side though. There is one return fire from Rustamar, but the damage is already little bit of a windy one. Destroyed. Raise your edge could be the next victims here. They want to get involved because players are down but not out. Lost 1 player initially. Apocalypse does get taken by Udia, and Raise Your Edge. That's 4 frags already in the bag. Fex again, TSM still feeling the wrath of FaZe Clan in the kill feed. And we're seeing some big names go down rather early.
You're right. And look who it's surrounding. Liquid, who've been just kind of chipping away. A little bit of chip damage here and there in the lobby. 4th place, the team below them, so no chase worries there. They can keep popping up a little bit. Once they do that, great. Okay, team in front of them, now down. This is room for Liquid to do some work. And if they're aware of who's been picked up so far, they're going to know that. They're like, okay, boys, this is the one. This gives us room to really springboard forward. But I love the positioning from FaZe, though. Look in the north there. So much ground covered. Now, I doubt it's going to stay north, but I love what they're doing with it for now. Bit of a breach from Vaughn. What is that, my man? 2 huge kills. And Miraku's on cleanup duty. He's just come in with the wrecking ball, and poor old Miraku's got a dustpan and brush, but still, Adept's just down and out. Beautiful work. And if this is what we want, if this is the TSM we're going to see, I'm happy.
I'm pretty sure that puts the Vard at 30 kills so far. We're 28 top of the table coming into this throughout the competition, so... Vex, unfortunately, will fall victim to FaZe Clan. That's the second time a member has gone down. Not fully out and confirmed and flush, but the first one that will fall as a point towards the side of FaZe. And it's for good reason. The North is about to get a little bit spicy. My only concern is the knock-on effect. When everyone realizes what's going on towards the northern side of the circle, ETG. Not quite central map, more towards the north. Raise your edge over by the east. They're all in on the north, though, so there is potential that they are just like a bit of a wander up and maybe try and set up some kind of trap to get them all in. Don't get me wrong. Okay, that is destruction.
Who called the exterminator? A doozy just went, goodbye, Blaze. It just, what the hell was that? That was so swift. I want to see what FaZe do about this, because they've got a weird route in. And they're actually pulling up Gustav, it looks like. Yeah, so they've pulled them back. So Gustav and 80 were further ahead than this. But they want to try and make room for their boys to come in. But look who else is here. It's not just Adepts, it's TSM behind them. And then Raise Your Edge. And with Iroh, if he's having a game, that's going to be a flush soon enough. But no, Uber looks like he's on recovery duty. Get old Ragnar back on his feet and in the fight. So FaZe still wanting to clear this, and they've got a time limit, right? You've got to do this well, but this is a horrible building to clear. Plenty of issues in your way, so many corners to clear, and the util, well, it's been used. There's still a molly on Gustav, so you can clear that corner for free, which is a really good use of it. If that does spread, that'd be great. It doesn't, so you've got to hope they check this. And actually, to help out FaZe, they've just seen the TSM are under pressure from Raise Your Edge. This is the time to go. I don't think they know exactly who's here. They knew. Oh, well done in the end. Nice work by 80 to double up on that peak, because Uber saw the molly, probably assumed it was clear. Obviously, the molly didn't go that far, but excellent trading from FaZe. If they get all 4 players back up, they'll be fine.
Glad you touched on Raise Your Edge, because they are keeping a watchful eye on all of this, and it's 3 points for everybody, right? If you can get set up in front of them and just deny them entry to the circle, and they're all going to be in trouble. Good work from FaZe Clan again to pull those 2 players back, but more importantly, go around and sweep to give them some sort of security. It's not fully secure yet, given TSM's position. Ira is outside of the blue, and he has to move rather soon, but this only spells disaster as Raise Your Edge start to encroach on this one. With another member of TSM going down, it starts to get a little bit dicey. Ira's on his own, and he's bleeding out of the wayside. TSM goes down. The point is denied towards the side of FaZe Clan. But 10th position is not good enough when you're middle of the map. Raise Your Edge have finally turned up to the party, and the bombardment has begun.
Now keep in mind, FaZe, if I'm them, you hit the brakes for a second. You get lay of the land. You've seen that new circle. You've got a little bit of time to play with. Pick your poison here. You're not forced into a fight. It's not a massive hard shift away from you. You've got a little bit of room to play with on this. So they should take a second or two to consider how they want to do this. They know Raise Your Edge is to the right side, but now they can maybe consider, okay, what's to the left of us? But spinning across the board, we're checking back in on the other boys. We've got Shift W in a bit of a predicament. They're going to have to force their way through this, and they're going to do just that. Tab goes down. Na'Vi have been knocked. They've been picked at. They've been absolutely bullied around here. Nice nade from Chris just to ensure that Na'Vi can't push this so he can get the flush and move forward. I love that. Now, FaZe did look to the left, and look who they found, Northern Lights. So maybe better the devil you know in this instance.
By taking stock of what was going on, Raise Your Edge have actually come out well and truly on top. They pause for a second, and FaZe Clan, well, they're now at the mercy of 3 different teams. Liquid's been having a bit of a pop-off in the kill feed. Clib takes down 2 members. One of them's only a knock for now. Kill is bleeding away and needs resuscitation. FaZe Clan, I don't know how many knocks they've had on this side now. Fuzzface, that may be second, so third time will be rather unlucky. Besta one to Jeems. Quiets him for all but a second. The marksman's been doing a fair amount of damage in the kill feed, but no more as he does clean up the kill. So a point go towards Navi. Orange bleeds out from himself. And IC now moves on to ETG. Moving on to ETG is good, because they're really the ones that could be the third-party problem. You can't focus on a team quite just yet, because you're so strapped for time given where the circle is. Be careful of Shiv. He is wrapping outside and trying to get a flank onto FaZe from the north.
I'm I'm a little worried for FaZe here. Yeah, I was curious if they were going to make it out of this scenario. If they're actually going to be able to make it away from the position they got themselves in. Northern Lights are being steadfast in this. This looks like the good Northern Lights that we get excited to see. But Raise Your Edge have swept from northeast all the way across to the west. So they've kind of anti-clockwise the circle, and they've done very well, very clean from it. Now, sadly for Liquid, Jeems was completely unrecoverable. I don't think he could have done much more than that, but he was out on an island. So let's see what the rest of FaZe can do. Not much. FaZe goes down. Here we go, though. Clib has to hold the line here. Shift W are going to be coming up towards them. Clib is the most forefront man, but he will have support if required. Besto's trying to just sneak his way in. Kill Yakai. Barely alive in the blue. This is very tricky. Nice hip fire. That should be it done. It is. Spyro, hold on. Northern Lights are dealing with Raise Your Edge. Monkey and a doozy. Suddenly the last two alive, but a doozy's been an absolute beast this game. Deep, Spyro, Perfectix nades out. Here we go. They're in a bit of a ditch. Those nades could do some work. Do any of them find them? Bounce, flash. A doozy can't see a single thing. One nade comes through. Monkey is on a pivot point, just turreting around, trying to find anything he can.
And to bring you up to speed, it was actually Uber who was the catalyst for all of this. He was laying in the ground for quite some time. One player came around the corner from Raise Your Edge. He knocked him. He got the instant headshot. Yes, they did trade out with Uber and took him down eventually, but they then went for the resuscitation by sticking the res. We saw the nade come through. It got the 2-for-1, and all of a sudden, Raise Your Edge has had their army split in two completely. They're forced to run. They are central circle, but there isn't any hard cover. This way it could be rather problematic because the wildcards on the opposing side of the circle, and if they have clear line of vision, they should be an easy meal. Damage done onto Clip. Again, you won't get the feedback for that. You'll deny anyone going for the res unless you overpeak this and Mexi gets a quick eye. He does not. Clip is eliminated. 1 point go the side of WS. The rest of Liquid have to try and fight this one through. Mexi on point every single time. Offstring goes down. Aduz is another one in the kill feed. And I mentioned IW. Be aware of them turning up at the last strike. Monkey gets taken down. They go out. We move back to Mexi's POV. Nades in abundance. Quick look away. The pin is pulled. Will it find its target? We shall see in the kill feed. Does have one player wrapping on him. Be careful of Kemba at the door.
Okay. 6 kills for Liquid right now. They're doing quite nicely for themselves. But as you said, Kemba's there. I think Maxi's around the corner too. He's not far off. Barrels as well. I mean, barrels on both sides. Who's not running them these days? But no one's pressuring WS. They've got the south quite quiet. Maxi's already moved up from this. But if Ibby is able to isolate, that could have been big. Nice tag there. Do they work off it? Any bit of springboard would be great. Fire comes in from afar. That's the Wildcats. You mentioned them. We're going to keep eyes on them too. They're the only team with 4 alive at the moment, which is actually pretty big. Northern Lights still have maintained 3. Kemba just dumpster diving for survival. There's not much cover being left here for Liquid now.
Still trying to do what he can to stay alive, and all these audible cues just give IW more information. This will probably play out better for Northern Lights. If IW want to try and investigate this, it puts them out of place. Maybe they split their team apart towards the north. They have to be careful and don't overcommit. If they overstep the boundaries and try and get involved in this one a little bit too much, then maybe the high ground that's granted by Northern Lights' position comes into play. Still have one member of ETG, so we'll see if he is problematic for anybody across this board. Liquid might just step on the snake and lose 1. If anything, it'd just put them into a revival state. And then Spyro or the Deep would come in with one wonderful nade. Hammered down on the side of BSD. Maxi down but not out just yet. Flashbangs up, pushes the player back. That's a decent one as well. Utility being thrown, I'm a big fan of it. See this coming into play and coming into fashion since the old update a few patches ago. Smoke's coming up on the side of the Northern Lights. It may be time for them to move. They're not quite inside the white safety zone just yet. Spoke about the snake. Look at them checking every single angle, every single corner. Did they look away? Mexi gets the target, but the Northern Lights, it's time for them to go.
But the thing with the Northern Lights, as much as they want to do this, they have to be really careful to not overexpose themselves to the Wildcats or WS. So if they can get them gone with utility, that would be more than ideal. So they're going to invest a lot of their util on this fight. I'm pretty sure nades coming out. You can see the flashes. Everything they've got. A bit of a Bangalore here on Perfectix, just letting them all go. But But now Liquid still stand, and we saw what Liquid did when they were just down to 2 previously. They're actually very strong. Maxi's gone for a mad dash too. Look at him on the mini-map you got right there. He's pushed up to the bottom of this hillside. So that's quite nice. He's actually done very nicely on that to be able to get that much territory. So it's basically an east and a west divide. East is all the Wildcats, and the west is all the rest. Now, Spyro, Perfectix, and Deep waiting patiently. But they've got to be proactive here. But I like what Kemba could potentially do. He could get a big flank on the Wildcats if he gets the angle on it.
6-time barrel. An awful thing to see. Mexi straight on with the minute, puts Kemba in the dirt, and his job done. That's a point going their way. Liquid are actually surviving on very limited lifetime, to be fair. This is life support all the way with Ibby going solo. Mexi going down. That's certainly not going to help things whatsoever. The smokes are open. You cannot get the revive at this point. You could try and stick it to deny the point, which is what them actually might try and do. It's not the quickest circle in the world. Nope. He's just picking up any kind of freebies, what he can, and IW are doing Liquid all kinds of favors. If they find Perfectors, that's guaranteed top 2. And all of a sudden puts Ibby in the cut motion. Probably not going to happen. Job done. IW, they bide their time, and they pick up 8 consecutive kills towards the latter stages of the game. And that is a nice clean win to round off round 1 of the weekend.
Yeah, the Wildcats did very well. I'm glad you highlighted them quite early on in that final scenario. They did exceedingly well to stay kind of under the radar, keep 4 alive, no needless deaths, no, any fumbles really, and picking up, was it 8 kills, I think, towards the end then? That's very solid. That's exactly when, above 4, I'm pretty happy with. You getting 5 and up, good work, that's nice. A couple of the other teams to look out for, though. We've seen Shift W come out of the gates firing on all cylinders. They look quite ready to rumble on this. Early losses of life, Rich. We've seen loads of things come down in this game already. So rather than us break it down, we're going to take a second, catch our breath, try and catch up on what we just saw. And luckily, we have the boys to chat you through everything you just seen.
That's right, yes, we have Istanbul Wildcats getting themselves the victory, as previously mentioned, with 8 kills. Very good for them, but at the same time, a few teams that are needing the step up got themselves a few points as well. Let's take a look at some of the highlights here. Martin, Froz joining me. Froz, to start things off, a nice win for Istanbul Wildcats.
Yeah, I mean, their first win here in the finals, of course, and we see them pumping it up from time to time, getting themselves a lot of kills. This is one of the games where they actually needed, we were talking about it before, just before during the pre-show, how these kind of teams that is lingering towards the bottom right now needs to push themselves up to get a little bit more of the prize money. And Istanbul Wildcats just starting off fantastically here.
Yeah, and of course, Martin, we've said it a few times throughout the PCS2 as a whole. As much as she created is normally the one we're looking to make things happen. That was big. The entire team of Istanbul Wildcats certainly feels like it's a more rounded package here in this tournament.
It does indeed. It's good to see that these guys step up, and now they're going to be pushing themselves very nicely into the top 7, I think. So that's great to see as well. Also, Northern Lights putting themselves into a great spot here, taking out all the teams in the Northwest and taking a very good control of that. Liquid being able to get second here as well. But overall, I just gotta mention that double headshot back to back from Vard, that was insane. It's rare you see double headshots, but back to back like that is just absolutely nuts. So it talks to how big of a mechanically skilled player he is. And TSM, they got 10th place, yes, but he got 3 kills himself.
Yep, not too bad. Hoping that one of my predictions actually is able to rise on up here. You can see Wildcats throughout those final moments as well, just being able to sweep and keep everybody else down. We have our 9th through 16th here. Not too many points coming in for these guys. We can move on to our 1 through 8 as well to see who got the big points for this game. It is 18 points for Istanbul Wildcats and 14 points for Team Liquid. Froz, you said you wanted to see them show up. That's a decent show up already.
I mean, this is what they need. They don't need to push it further than this. And this is what I was talking about. Don't overcompensate. Don't try too hard. You saw how they were holding down the compounder. They had the center circle. They did the box formation, of course, and made sure that they had full control until towards the end there. And basically just went ham on with Mexi and Ibby towards the end. And I mean, Mexi also catching the last guy there from Etiquette in that ball was huge, because we saw that Ibby actually missed that guy.
Yeah, and you can even see Razor Edge actually putting up some decent numbers as well. Aduzi adding extra revitalization to this roster. But even the other members around him were performing well throughout this game. But Northern Lights, actually a bit of a surprise for me, Martin, all things considered for this tournament as a whole, actually getting themselves a decent performance as well.
Yeah, for sure. The third place here, Spyro, 2 kills, Deep, 2 kills, Battlefields 1, and Perfecto's not getting anyone, but still supporting the team and getting a third place. That's great for them. I just said Ratio Edge as well. 6th place, though, with 10 kills, 4 from Mudu and 4 from Medusa. That's really impressive. If they were able to survive the Northwest side and able to get a better kind of placement that they would have gotten probably, 12, 14 kills and a better placement there. That would have been an insane game for them, but still good to see the double-digit kill here from the 6th place.
And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen out there, that of course right now the Pick'em Challenge is still kind of on. You can't bet on any team in particular now because that is done. But if you are watching along, you can actually earn yourself some EP points if you've got your Twitch account bound to your Steam account as well. So make sure to do that. And hopefully you've been able to pick some winners throughout the other tournaments that have been going on as well. So for now, we're going to go to a short break, ladies and gentlemen. And when we return, we have our second game of Miramar on the way for our first day of this weekend.
But Seven, I've already seen Sadovnik today, and I don't want to see too much more of him. The nades are looking good. Look at the damage coming in, but it is Recrent to find Sadovnik. So they've muted him, and now they're going to put the pressure towards the remaining 3.
Oh, that's decent.
Yeah,
he's going to bleed out from that one. You ain't getting back up. The rest of the teams can kind of just, or rest of the players, should I say, will continue the mortar strike. But we have to, you can see it on the map. Look at the bottom corner. I'm just seeing the Diamond Dogs coming into play, and that's their tracer fire. So they'll actually cause this engagement to go under. If they pressure these teams into one another, they could even get ahead of the game or go into the circle.
Is gonna maybe weigh heavy on them, I've got to say it. Jeems, though, in the kill feed. Always good to see Liquid starting to find a couple of kills here themselves, holding the very central spot. Now on the outskirts, it's time to run.
It was K-Mind who actually picked off Seong as well.
I love what Tornado Energy are trying here. They've looked at their options, they've used the low ground, and they're going to try and swing around Liquid. If Liquid took too long here and got too tunnel vision towards the north and not the circle, they may have dropped the ball. Let's see if they can recover, though. Fire coming in from afar, but there's the bit of contact. Mexi already punching one. Tornado Energy might have the right idea, but they don't have the manpower. Just pound for pound, Liquid just going to town on them, and you can see Liquid now working forward. There is one man alive for Tornado Energy, but can he do anything? Can he take one with him? K-Mind could be in danger.
In my opinion, this should have gone Liquid's way. They saw the fight earlier on against WTSG. They got involved themselves. They snuck one away from Tornado. Oh my word!
180!
What's he done?
He's just turned on a dime. This is dangerous. Liquid now.
No.
Look at them. They're cornered. There's surely going to be someone else joining. And yes, they were saved from afar. This is what I wanted to look at. If there was a hard shift away from that central pack, it's going to be really, really fun to watch because a lot of the teams are just on that southern cusp. Here's the push, though, coming out from Exile. They are at the door. Unity have got their players back and they're holding angles. They've heard all the steps. Monkey, though. This man can be a real danger. He's a threat. He always has been. Quizzy.
That's a nade.
Oh,
I thought
it's a team nade.
Yeah, I saw it on the floor. I thought is that a smoke?
Oh, Unity.
Well, Udina's nading his teammate as well. What are you doing, boys?
Welcome back. We have got our next Miramar game on the way. We're having decent chats whilst all of those games were going on. We're reminiscing about some of those fights as we were there at those tournaments. And now we're back once again. Froz, you are going to join us here, and we have got ourselves a cheeky little leaderboard. Team Liquid moving up 2 places, Froz.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we want to see, right? We want to see the fight towards the top there. And right now, I mean, you gotta look at it. FaZe has a good lead, Shift W just a little bit behind. But then there's a little bit of a gap between Shift W down to Team Liquid and ENCE right now. And this is what we want to be focusing on this weekend to see how are those two teams, Team Liquid, ENCE, are they gonna be able to push up towards the top there, or are they gonna be staying down there?
Now, of course, Martin, I know that a lot of people have got their picks riding on FaZe winning, but I do want to see the world burn and watch Shift W take that first place spot and ruining everybody's pick'em challenge. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great statement. Besides watching the world burn, I don't like that. I think it's a great statement to watch, wanting to see some total points coming in, and then overall just taking over. Liquid in 3rd place, where we were talking about they potentially could do it if they had a good week here. They started already with a great game 1, and now they're in 3rd, and they could potentially take on 2nd place here if they continue this. Shift W, though, I want to say, we were talking about it while the game was going on, guys, and they're looking good. I've had my doubts. They've had some rough tournaments, especially towards the end of leagues and other tournaments where they, in some of the last weekends, they had some rougher times, but here it's looking very good to start with.
Yeah, absolutely. And going on to our next Miramar game here, Froz, of course, that previous Miramar game, with the circle being the way it was, is a little bit rough for almost every single team, given that there's not that much playable land. So going into the next game, one can only suspect that almost any circle is going to be better than that circle.
I mean, yeah, you talk about the circle, but you got to start with the plane itself. It was a super south in plane, so a lot of the teams didn't actually reach the normal drop points, which means that a lot of them had to just adapt on the spot there and try to make the best out of it. We saw a few teams, of course, being able to loot their normal spots, but when it comes down to something like this, what we want to see is, okay, what are they actually doing? Are they going to play the normal game still, even though they don't get their normal spots? How are their rotations and stuff like that? And for most part, it looked pretty normal. We saw some teams playing a little bit more passive, but also a team like ETG, for example, they had the center circle, but not too much happened from that, sadly.
Yeah, definitely so. And actually, before we actually get into our next game, I do believe we might have some more PCS2 fans. So let's check in.
Торнадо, бей, торнадо, жги, торнадо, лучшие в PUBG. Да, торнадо!
Team Liquid, you are the best. Let's go.
What was the first one? How did they have PEL stuff? They had PEL things. I'm impressed. But that was fantastic. Rooting for one of the best teams, of course, Tornado Energy. Thank you very much for sending those in, guys. We're just 30 seconds out from this next game here, Martin. What are your thoughts going into the next one?
Well, it's going to be the last Miramar of today so far, so we're curious to see how the macro rotation coming out. I'm hoping for another really great circle here. The southern ones are nice. I'm hoping for a north one. Couldn't we see maybe an Oasis or Campo Militar ending? I would love it.
So would I, but we're never going to get Oasis. I would love it one day, because all of that water is kind of like really shallow. You can run around in it a little bit, you know, moving up. It's not that much cover in the water, I suppose, but, you know, it could be something that would be nice and spicy, but we're never going to see it. It doesn't matter. We're going on to our next game. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It is time. We have our Sims and Pansy. Pim's o'clock. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Thanks, James. All right, we'll get into it. You know, we'll do it. Oh, hold on. I've got a call coming in. Hello? Hi, player unknown. You received the money for the circle up north. No, the Oasis one. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks. Anyway, how's it going, Rich?
Honestly, what used to be that film with that program with Dom Jolly at the time with?
I know, the
used to just
stupidly
scream.
large phone.
Oh,
It literally
God,
was a
what
Nokia ringtone.
Hello.
I'm on the train.
I'm in the cafeteria. Yeah. Oh, what were it called? That's all I had in my head. That was actually amazing. Well done, Lauren. I like it. That's
Yeah, on the
moving to
fly.
James's level of production.
Yeah, I had
Quite
props.
impressive.
I had to very quickly look up a ringtone from the 90s. Ah, dear. If only. We do love the weird circles. Oasis is it's just the holy grail, right? It's like we're just we don't even know if it exists, and we ain't getting it today. No fun to be had. The fun police have arrived. They've put PlayerUnknown back away from the product. They're like, no, you're not allowed, sir. Get out of the room. So we're heading over towards what looks like central point towards Graveyard. Quick summary on first game. Looks good for the Wildcats, but it has definitely shuffled around a bit. Liquid looking a little bit better, so the fans tuning in, going to be a little bit happier.
Trigger Happy TV. That was it.
There it is.
I don't know why it's just come to my mind.
There it is.
Trigger Happy TV. Used to be just between that and Face Jacket. That's pretty much all I used to watch. But anyway, yeah, this kind of circle, it does play off for a lot of teams that like to generally just go to their home territories. Given the flight path, everyone's going to be looted, everyone's going to be booted, and more importantly, they'll be happy with this one. It gives you time to adjust accordingly where you want to try and set up shop. It should be one of those circles where we shouldn't see too many fights, right? With how much ground is in play, we don't have a lot of water. We don't have any water, excuse me, whatsoever. So we're not going to be trying to bank off of that one. I suppose the only thing it does really set you up for is potential disaster if we get a hard shift more towards the east, given how many teams are actually set up on the west, not inside the circle. The west could be a little bit dicey. It depends what Tornado want to do. We know that in and around their areas that they do play off the back of San Martin. There's quite a few bottlenecks for that side, the ones that run through the valleys, especially off the top of the hillsides. And Tornado in the past have actually set up either side of it, been able to play 2-2 and just catch teams on transition. I mean, I'm already seeing Alia, who's a bit further down to the opposing road, which then runs up towards the power station side of things. So there's a good opportunity here for Tornado to maybe just set up shop and wait for people to wander by and pick up a few frags on arrival. FaZe, Bystanders, Na'Vi, Omicron, to be fair, quite a few teams that have to do an awful lot of work to get through. Again, with a circle like this, everyone is going to be happy. We'll have to watch out, I suppose, for Adepts. They're already on the move a little bit. And these are the values, by the way, that I'm speaking about when it comes to Tornado Energy. Again, they don't have to do it. They do have options to go further and deeper into the circle. But regardless of where you're going to be at this point, it shouldn't be too difficult and a hop, skip, and a jump to actually get there. I'm intrigued to see if TSM get pushed early. Adepts are a team that will always just bomb center and not really care who's there and standing in the way. Even if it is scrappy, it does make for some early action sometimes. TSM is eventually going to regroup with Miraku. I can see Noki actually on the map isn't too far, so that is a fight that could unravel itself. Tell you what, if Deep goes down here, Jimbo gets that kill, he'll push that instantly, get the flush, and then just run away from it. To knock out a player early from Northern Lights would be even more catastrophic than what this competition's going so far for them. That's to be a nice place for TSM, actually. They're a bit of a setup there. It's a bit further inland than what I anticipated them going. I think they were going towards Crossroads side of it, and where the actual old oil drums are, just a little bit further around the corner from here. But again, having an intersection gives them a good place to be able to watch teams that are going to be transferring by. Mexican Clip. And again, this must be quite a wide split coming from Liquid. Caddo position. It's not quite central, but certainly it's deeper in the circle than what other teams will be. And you've kind of got the pick of the bunch, and you just see a lot of really good scouting, a lot of split individuals, a lot of 2-2, maybe 3-1 play. It's, I mean, provided you don't just go bombing into a compound and taking a team head-on with a crash, I think you're going to be all right until Phase 2-3.
Probably. Here come the Wildcats right in between ETG. Look. Oh, BSD with some delightful moves here. Nil point for the landing. Didn't have faith that the buggy was going to be perfectly fine. It is. What's the problem? Gravity works just fine. Any bulleting? Oh, it hit the tire, not the player.
So yeah, anyway, I have started to understand why a lot of DayZ players started there and why they've all moved, you know, why a lot of PUBG players, excuse me, started there and from behind days. I'm learning, Lauren. I know you introduced me to it about 6 months ago, but I found myself falling into this really deep trap where I blink and it's 2 a.m. I'm like, oh no, I have a child that I have to be up with in 3 hours.
And you just
kind of scary, kind of good.
It's great.
Yeah.
I love
Shout out
it.
to Frog
DayZ's my chill game.
for show me how to build and stuff. It's quite good. He's teaching me. Slowly but surely, he's teaching me.
I'll just come over with my Chatac. Don't worry, boys. Easy clap. Yeah, no, me and the guys I play with, we have a little group called the Novi Knights. It's terrible. We were as cheesy as possible. And we got raided yesterday because we were being horrible to everyone on the server, is basically the point. We were being really mean, very nasty. We like to really, you know, be the bad guy. Sometimes you got to be, you know, adds a little bit of flavor to it. We got raided, and I've rage quit for a day. So that's how my time is going. But all that aside, now I just sit there and laugh at Summit, like falling out of, I don't know, helis, everything else. It's a good time to be alive. It has been fun watching those two play it again, though. But overall, it is funny how the games are so similar but different. Obviously, I love the gun mechanics in PUBG, and it's why that I would always love more weapons to be introduced to PUBG. I think it's one of the things that was like one of my main takeaways is I love all the different variety of weaponry, what you can do with it. I really want, like, you know, different sniper rifles, more modern age sniper rifles potentially that could then, you know, a bolt action that could keep up with maybe some of these, you know, DMRs, the SLRs, you know, the FALs, these sort of things that are just so beefy right now in the meta. I mean, the barrel, it's unmatchable. You can't do much about it. You know, put in what can we add? Just something new. I want another gun that can either tip it out or even up the meta, because right now it's barrel or die, right? Like, these guys are so good with it now. I feel like most people are proficient with it, right? And then you'll get a couple of specialists, but even then, I think the skill ceiling is pretty even with most of these guys. They've all kind of found footing with it pretty fast, and I love the introduction. It kind of came in, and then suddenly, like, everyone's running it. You see, like, 2 or 3 teams make it look almost like something you can't not use, and then everyone goes, huh, I see the viability here. And then, like, you know, next tournament we're back in, and it's just barrel SLR all you want.
It used to be, it was basically M4 Mini at one point, wasn't it? And again, just
True,
with
true.
how the M4 became a basic laser beam.
Oh, wait, one sec. Diggory's very close to this. Yeah, let's see if they're pulling up. Oh god, the M4 burst a barrel. Okay, M4's done well. Oh, and not that well. Okay. Yep. Nope.
Answered.
Nope. Yep. There you go. There is your answer. To how this one's looking, and even Austrian's like, soz, mate. So, yeah. Nah, I've got other things to do. Got an appointment actually over somewhere else. Very busy man today. Off we go. Circle, quite centralizing. Centralizing. That's not really a word. Quite centralized. Still debatable English, but we'll sit with it. Graveyard again was kind of the initial center point a little bit further south, but it has moved south, but not by a great deal. I guess the issue then becomes that south, maybe 20% or so, 10% is not unplayable, but it's very unfavorable. That Los Leones area, so hilly, so rocky, especially, you know, southeast, and then the town itself doesn't feel likely to end there. Picado has a lot of open fields, so also lacking playable areas. So you're going to look at these teams really clustering towards the Wildcats. That is the most playable territory and the most likely territory. Maybe north a little bit towards Razor Edge too. But again, this is a very tricky circle here.
Yeah, I think these probably the best way I can put this one is it kind of triangulates. So if you put your pen on where Hacienda is and you run it down through Picado, touch the edge of the circle, go all the way over to Impala, touch the edge of the circle, and back up again. It doesn't go to Minas Generalis. You have those 3 peaks in there, inaccessible terrain. It isn't going to go the way of San Martin. Again, inaccessible terrain. You've got the hillside that runs parallel towards the backside of the power station. We don't get the circles on that. It always runs away from them. Then you look towards Los Leones. It's few and far between. Yes, we get a couple of circles now and again on the north side of Los Leones. I can't really remember one this competition so far. It is an awful rarity, and we'd have to get double hardship to go there. So you're banking on the numbers, but it's basically a triangle. It's kind of where the roads run between it all. You knock out those 3 areas that I spoke about, and everyone's going to try and bomb central. It's going to be difficult for anybody who's outside of those roads, because you will be playing edge next game. You might be all right now, but if you ain't got a compound that's going to be safe in the next central circle, that's a lot of players that'll be alive for Circle 3 and hoping to try and get mobile. It'll be a difficult run, to say the least, and these kind of scenarios which you have now, we'll see if Blaze do turn it around and regroup themselves. It's a bit of an open field, but not too far. You can get the vehicles and crack on. You just don't want to be caught biting off more than you can chew with half of your roster. Like, if a full team pulls up to that now, they're pretty much dead. Yes, you might get a point, but if a full roster's knocking at the door, it's going to be answered with full force. Jempty going down means that Omakan now may have to react. Offstring getting punished. Ends continue the battle. IW are actually been tagged up from behind, so that could have... oh, nice.
I thought it was Iro. Sorry, I thought it was perfecting, so it was Iro to get it, but it'll be Tixu who gets the kill on it in the end. The one thing I want to highlight there, though, is that Omakan are having quite a rough day so far. They've lost out. There is recovery on Gemty, but an early knock. Last game was really bad. I think they were the first team down potentially. Shift W and Liquid, though, that's something to keep our eyes on. As Jeems does find Kilyakai pretty comfy. Maybe he was just scouting out, seeing if this was available. And the one-man defense system of Jeems is doing okay. Bear in mind, he's pretty isolated from the others. He's on an island. And FaZe might see this. I wonder how much FaZe know, because they're not far from this either, but everyone falling in towards the center now.
I'm really glad you touched on that. There's options for Jeems just to sit inside the building and wait for the one player to come in, but that gives time to then say to the rest of the team, oh yeah, this place is empty. Stop on, come on, get stuck in, lads, not a problem. And then all of a sudden he's got all players to deal with. So being proactive and just lurking and stopping anyone from coming down here sends the signal that this is a hot bit of territory. It's claimed, it's mine, go away, don't bother me, leave me alone. Again, it's not even the best. You look at this circle, and as it centralizes, almost perfect like a donut. Speaking of donuts, tea time soon. Anyway, Blaze do regroup themselves. We said the 2-2 could be fragile. So grouping up will definitely give them a bit more of a defensive stance that allows ETG to push into their territory they've taken. And again, it's just like a game of dominoes at the moment. When one team moves further inland towards the center of the circle, another team will just take residency on whatever amount of territory you leave behind. First pull up because there's nowhere else to go, and it's the bystanders. One player initially falls, the rest of them could be folding in.
Oh, bloody hell, that control from Beamy was really good for the first, but examples right there. Tornado Energy are in bother because Alio's down, but they've done very well there to keep that clean. Yeah, losing Alio, you know, not ideal, obviously, but he'll be back up and fine to go. I don't know what his helmet and what have you is looking like, but he should be okay, nicely handled by Tornado Energy. But while all of this happens, I see Northern Lights getting curious. Now, this team, if they want to do well, keep in mind, or maybe get themselves away from the bottom section, they need the kills. They need the placements. They need everything. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to win this because they are literally half of the points, if not more, from FaZe. So that's not really a point, but for them to pick up, that would be extremely valuable. Nice shot there. Yeah, that's example at his finest. Look at that. Beautiful work. Example's a player as well who I haven't seen much of recently, but, you know, recent events, he's been outstanding. But Batulin's getting quite close by, but he is the spearhead here. A little further ahead than the others. If you can find one of these players, that'd be wonderful. Raise Your Edge, similar scenario. Playing quite nicely, but not high up on the scoreboard. Last game was very impressive, though.
Elu probably needed that shot to connect because the rest of the team can now set up shop and await them around the corner. They can't move to the left because the window is going to be blocked off completely. An easy shot from a doozy. Although, to be fair, he might be actually no help whatsoever and probably should disconnect and get towards the rest of the team now. Excuse me. Being so disconnected, he really should start to regroup. You can see bullets and tracer fire from a distance or block him off and stop his vision onto a depths. If they take the vehicles and just fly away from this, then fair play, whatever works. They've got a bit of a treacherous run to do if they want to try and take over this compound. And again, while all this happens, it's great having the high ground here. It's great controlling this vicinity. But you are up on top of a hill. You are up in no man's land, and everywhere else is just a vast valley. And I can already see TSM, and when we bring up the map eventually, you will see it. TSM is actually setting up shop for all these teams to come out of there. Look at that. VAD disconnected to the north. Vex in the south, further just on that hillside, waiting for them to try and bottleneck. TSM is actually smelling this one out. I'm a big fan. While Ira and Miracle sit back and just defend that compound, the only issue is now the circle has horribly, horribly hard shifted away from them. So if they overstay their welcome, they're then put out of position and put into a bad spot. You can't really win in this. I feel a bit sorry for them. They're trying to set something up and get some frags, and Circle says, well, you know, your best plans, stuff it.
Where are Ents heading? Because they're in the vehicles going through Omakan and the Wildcats. If they make it through that without losing a player, it'd be very surprising. Oh, they're all on bikes. It's the bike gang. And, squeaky down. How far do they make it? What have they got? Not much. Bloody hell. Just a shack. That's your lot. Shacks, bikes, and barrels. That's your life at the moment. Igri has made it. It's not comfy though, is it? Shift W going to use this as a springboard moment to push up themselves. Lovely little ditch to be found. And Na'Vi, well, I say Na'Vi, it's Senya on the go. He's got a buddy on the back, but not going to be looking so likely until he gets to the support of the others, and he's done just that. So for now, so good. TSM, though, going to be pulling up towards us, and Orange and Na'Vi, Senya, the IGL, of course, going to be meeting this head-on.
Can have level 3 gear. Still a big boy gun in hand, so be able to do some damage on the way out, or maybe not whatsoever because he's down. TSM are having a field day. Adepts have turned up at the wrong time. Welcome to the party. Absolutely. Slap, bang, wallop, dead and done. That is just a massacre over towards the north edge of the circle, and it's TSM who just basically get away with murder. 2 teams down, plenty of frags in the bag, and they will continue onwards. The smokes are already been pre-thrown by Raise Your Edge. They know they've got a lot of work to do. I'm going to fall through this, hopefully cleanly and quietly, as Tixu tries to get a free frag. Diggory helps him out. Do manage to knock one off the back of the vehicle, so maybe they can pick up some points while they're out on transition. They need as many as they can get up at the top if they want to try and withstand winning this whole thing. Be a nice remembrance to the PEL 1 championship stage. They took home the trophy. Since then, it was a little bit downhill, but since then it's actually been uphill. This is the we spoke about Ents and their return to greatness, and honestly, I'd say for the last, I mean, especially this tournament, we're really starting to see the best of these players.
Truly are. Coming alive here. Fex doing well towards a deer, but he's got to do more. He's low HP. He's holding the cross. Well played by TSM. Raise your edge. Say goodnight. She created, still on it, and win streak on the receiving end. No way in. Kemba has managed to slip through the cracks, but very much alone now. Not feeling so brave in this. Now let's kind of take stock of where we are, because most of the teams have shuffled in here. The East is still a bit volatile. Kemba could die if Paige sees them. The Wildcats go and there you go. FaZe South, Liquid South. Northern Lights West, Tornado Energy North, TSM North. And then the East is everyone else. So the East is very compact of players. So I wouldn't be surprised seeing a lot of these teams losing like it.
I want to see eventually how many kills TSM actually have. They've been on a bit of a farming session over by the north, but I don't know if any of those have actually been transitioned into kills and into points. Tornado Energy are kind of pitting them up against the edge. Can't run more to the east because of Blaze holding a very strong compound. They can't really get into Blaze, otherwise you open yourself up to line of sight. So this is going to be a difficult story for TSM working their way into this. For everyone else, it could be treacherous for Team Liquid. The circle will now be completely open and exposed as they try and transition to the actual circle itself. FaZe can just sit up on the cliff face. You can see them now on the map. They're already setting up shop and they're waiting the Liquid move. Even if you've got vehicles, really, how far can you go? Ollies start to come the way of IW, and Shift W and Co have full information of what's going on in this position. Insta-Res should come through for BSD by doing so and denying the kill. You'll then know there's a second player there if you didn't know beforehand. The rest of IW trying to find Grace in some kind of land, but it feels like no man's land. It feels like all of Shift W's land, to be fair. They just hold them back, but the one issue for this is you have the high ground and the low ground. You definitely want to be on the high ground, but the hard cover, it's just not there. It's just going to be so difficult. If you're not inside the circle now, good luck by the end of it. This we could see a few of them go down, maybe 2 or 3 teams at the minimum. Omakan scrapping together whatever they can between a rock and a hard place and a bush just to top it all off. Maybe he'll try and stack the vehicle best he can to give him some kind of defense for the rest of Team Liquid. At the moment, there's just so little hard cover. You got to try and build yourself something, build a pathway into this one. FaZe have actually took the eye off the ball for all but a moment, and this allowed Liquid to start moving.
They've allowed Ibby and Jeems to start moving. The rest, the other two, I'm a little worried about. But let's focus on Shift W holding back the Wildcats for now. Shift W do have the circle, of course, so they don't have the pressure on them. It's the Wildcats who have to deal with it. It's Brexico to try and take the initial contact. Swings out, gets the tag onto. Flashed up, though. Double dips on towards the peak with the barrel, but fire from afar is going to keep him in a bad spot here. Zoka up for the challenge. Chris, the backline defense, already had to vacate their beautiful shack home. You know, cheap cost to keep that bad boy running, but Ibby's the one making this trickier for the Wildcats now. The position shifted, the move comes in. Braxico, new angle, new kill. Nice work towards Lemon. Falls away from it now. Needs some support here, but keeps doing damage. Zoka's dead, and it's not over just yet. Braxico actually took down Zoka. Just a bit of a fumble as Chris now falls. It's going to be just Braxico flushing on one. Didn't see the next. So, bit of an issue there.
Well, that went down. Uber actually fell victim to Team Liquid, so they transitioned further in towards the middle of the circle. Try and line themselves up for the next one. It looks like FaZe didn't get ahead of the game fast, and by doing so, Uber got caught out in the open. That circle has actually hard shifted now. There's been a few times where we've seen the fights that unfold, and it's in and around that roadside. We've not actually seen one so high up thus yet. This gives TSM a bit of time to play with, but not too much given Tornado Energy's position. Tornado Energy, depends what you're feeling. At the moment, they're playing the same level of competition as what TSM are, but if TSM are stacked up with gear and ready to rock and roll, if they're feeling it, probably taking down a few teams, they might be able to take the fight. Guards just creeping and crawling. Switch onto a different fight altogether as Omicron get noted. First player goes down, second one to follow. Vasku and Page. Page eliminated completely. No casualties on the side of Blaze just yet, and unfortunately it comes down to T-Bone. He's got to run the dungeon gauntlet, but it's going to be difficult. So many teams in front of him. Oh, that just went from bad to worse.
Well, I've never heard that musical, but there he is. He's made it in. It's not great. It's not what you want, but you might be able to jump a couple of places here. Keeping in mind this circle will probably cause a loss of life for a great deal of the southern teams, because it's literally just a ridgeline. And right now, I guess FaZe are the gatekeepers of it, and that's why you're seeing Ibby die. Clib focusing towards 8C to try and alleviate the pressure, but Fuzzface is popping off. He's just taken down 2 of them, so it looks like Liquid won't be able to leave that compound unless a bit of a miracle happens for them. Laza waiting very patiently. Mexi's helping out, though. That's maybe the miracle they need. Miracle Mexi when you need it. Call upon him and he'll arrive. Gustav now the only one standing as Laza does well towards BSD. Control on towards Rupture would be everything he wants, but it can't be. Now, nice play coming out from Liquid. I doubted them. I thought they were done for, but actually they've recovered well. And Clip could be picked up, maybe. I'm not sure how much time they have on the revive. There you go. He's back on his feet. They've done it. They made it out of the south. This is a hardy Liquid here. They are fighting a big game. But this could be the battle for who gets the best position on the circle. TSM and Tornado Energy.
Yeah, that's a huge win. Like, to make it out of where they were down in the Bevel, I don't know what went wrong for FaZe Clan. They had the height advantage and they had the line of sight. They had everything going for them. Whether or not they just decided to look the wrong way at the wrong time. Fendelos does just do that and ends up losing his life. Rupture going down as well to Tixu in the kill feed. So ends continuing even with the small amount of land they have. Doing some damage. Bard sees them in the open, but the problem is for TSM as they open up into this one, it alerts Tornado Energy that they are closer. Now, don't get me wrong, they'll have been keeping track of them. I've seen them looking their way time and time again, but they don't have the full information, exactly how many are there just yet, how close they are. Ira hangs back. And again, that's to try and get lines of sight like this one. Jimbo trying to hide behind a vehicle. They'll call for some support to his teammate to his left-hand side, and then they can take a look up further. Might even end up seeing some players from the Northern Lights. So sitting back is good. Circle shifts. Still keeps Tornado Energy locked inside their buildings. There's no real reason for them to move yet. It becomes dangerous the further we go down the circle. Again, getting out of them when all the teams are just stacking up around you and awaiting your arrival. Finally, the Molotovs are committed. Try and burn them out the houses, but honestly, they're just staying put, staying stationary. They don't want to give TSM any time whatsoever.
No, they don't. And TSM did find Ents, or I say Ents, it's Tixu, who's on a bit of an island. And I don't know how the hell Liquid still have this many players up. I am amazed they've survived this long. They have been through a very rough position on this. Now, I don't know how much room they're going to get with Ents watching their cross. That's going to help out TSM, though. In we go. Nade comes in. Quizzy goes down. Stop nade comes out from Example to try and maintain some territory as the smoke wall is deployed. TSM keeping things under cover. Oh, that's a big nade back, though. That cost them a good amount. So now let's see where this takes them. You've got T-Bone waiting patiently. He is going to be the one who could take down the entirety of Liquid. They seem so aware. Excellent flash. They go for the peek together. Perfect play.
Oh, he couldn't see anything. They were all just coming around that corner. He was awaiting them. He had some sort of information. They just got hit by a billion flashbangs. Groza with the silencer. It's about to do some serious damage. Example, the last man standing. Molly's in. He's burning away. And I think if the chase for this one down, unless it does it at 10 HP Dream. Fix actually moved on to Ents as well. Let's just make note of that. Picks up Diggory and doing a fair amount of damage himself. Example will not go down without a fight. TSM is down one man. He is forced to get the stick the res. Miraku, very little HP, so you'll hear the... Oh, they got him on the cross. Yes, they have. 1, 2, thank you. 10 kills. And somehow, TSM's still alive and kicking. All 4 players up, but nothing goes more on the side of Team Liquid. You mentioned it. Like, to get out of the position that they were in, with all 4 players standing, is just phenomenal.
Oh, I don't get it. Okay, can we get on board with Liquid and maybe TSM? I want to see how many kills they're getting here, because they have 4 squads up. Now, what a sick ending we've got here. Some of the best teams, I know Northern Lights have had a rough one, in full force. We have full 4 squads here of some incredibly good teams. Now, let's look at where they are. Northern Lights have the circle. Liquid are playing super quiet, maybe trying to hope that TSM engages something here, maybe gets a shot going, but now someone steps too far. Deep triggers the fire from everyone. So now they've isolated them. You can see Batula and Spyro Deep all pushing towards Liquid. But now Perfectix has spotted TSM. Northern Lights, you gotta be careful. Don't spread yourself too thin here. You've got some big boys in the end game now. Vard, vest broken, but still has smokes. TSM are in this. 10 kills for TSM. That's huge.
Something we've seen on the side of Team Liquid as well. It's with how many fights you've been through, with how much damage you've taken to get to this point. How does your utility hold up? How's your vest? How's your helmet? What's left in the tank? Because they've committed basically every single smoke they had to get to this position. They're still not fully inside the circle just yet. It is moving slowly, so no panic maneuver quite just yet. Who engages with who first? You're hoping that the Northern Lights start to kick off and make some noise against TSM. The problem is for me, Deep and Batulins, like, eventually there could be a point where they just say, okay, time to sweep.
Oh, Iro! That shot was filthy. Clip just got 2-tapped. That is sick work from Iro, and that's going to encourage Northern Lights to maybe re-aggress a little. They know that there's weakness here, and Liquid probably have the worst position in the circle. They are not in a good spot here. Northern Lights are keeping them humble by posturing with their 3 players to this position, but it puts so much value and weight on Perfectix, right? He's the one who has to basically keep back the entirety of TSM, who just banged out some shots. Look at these boys. Oh, no helmets, a knock or 2 here and there. Oh, good lord. And now, let's see what they do with this, because it's literally like Northern Lights, you know, looking around the giant, and oh wait, how did Clip just die? Did he? What? I actually don't understand that. I thought he was being
Secondary
rezzed.
knock.
Kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I thought someone was on that. Maybe not. But now it's apparently go time. Maybe they had to keep moving, and it finally revealed Batulins. But where's TSM? You know they're wanting in on this. Vex is gonna go, and he is a monster. Throws it to hand, no barrel, so who knows, but nade comes in, Deep's ready for this, that lands, it's good, it's very good for one, Mexi's down, another nade comes in, here's Vex though, flashed up, oh, that's good work, Deep's gonna get the most of the kills here, but now it's TSM up against Northern Lights, Batulins is looking worse for wear, but Vard's found Perfectix, it's looking like TSM are back, boys, we've got a game from them, 15 kills, what a goddamn good performance.
25-point game. Cannot argue with that one on any time of day whatsoever. You know, fair play to... He actually had a grenade towards the end. Imagine if he'd have thrown it. It's hindsight, but imagine if he'd thrown it a few seconds earlier. It would have been a 4 at one point. Good job to Liquid. To get to that position from where they was is just phenomenal work. Even to the point where the circle's moving. Get Clip back up. Deny TSM another point. Even just little things like that. Could have been another point going towards TSM. If they lose it by 1, hey, who knows? But still, it's one of those moments, and you've called them a few times, Lauren, where we get 3 teams that are so good and so disciplined at this game. You get towards the late game, it can just be standoff, stalemate. But when it all goes together and everything comes towards the end of it, one player just going off with a Groza like that in the back lines, love to see it.
It's been good so far. But I am noting that FaZe aren't having the big day yet. Now we have Erangel coming up, keep in mind. But this could create opportunities. But neither have the teams that are just chasing behind them. I'm sure to clarify that are the boys on the desk. So let's head over there.
That's right. A lot of these teams making it all to play for as we get up towards the top. And TSM getting themselves a big win means they might be able to join some of those names up towards the top as well. Martin, Patrick joining me here after our Miramar game here. Let's take a look at these highlights. And for us, when we see TSM getting those kills, those rotations, those fights coming in, you got to start believing in TSM a little bit again.
I mean, yeah, you got. Did you ever stop believing in them? I mean, you predicted them to have a good day today. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's really good to see that they're stepping up enormously. And we saw them playing it really well, doing the right breaches, the right timing of them, of course, as well. Making sure that they have the upper hand when they're doing it. And basically picking the right fights all the time. And that is why they got themselves 15 kill and a win on top of that.
Yeah, Martin? He's muted.
Oh, that's unfortunate. No,
All right,
honestly,
on,
with the fourth shift, how it turned out, and TSM being in the north, how they were able to get in and manage to like outfrag and kill all of those teams, like that's just insane. They were able to play this so well, and it was just an insane game for them overall. And with the circle, how they were able to move, how they were able to take over that compound away as well, away from Tornado Energy, a team that is very well mechanically skilled as well. So amazing play, amazing game from them, and fragging out throughout the game here, amazing.
I mean, you got to look at for those opportunities in TSM's shoes, right? For us, when they see one knock going down onto Tornado Energy in that compound, they instantly started moving on that, and that was very important for them, considering that there is potential for them to be held out completely by a team like Tornado Energy.
I mean, 100%. They knew that was the time to go, and if they didn't go there, as you're saying, they might have been held out by Tornado afterwards. But yeah, here we got the match points from the previous game here.
Yeah, literally 7 points for our bottom 8 teams. Sorry, guys. Let's move on.
Low.
Very low indeed. Because 25 points soaked up by TSM. Team Liquid with another 14-point game, Martin. They are, yeah, they're on it this weekend. They're looking for blood.
They are, and again, they were sitting in outside the top 5 for that, and they're really looking in to get into a better placement in terms of prize money, but also try to chase down FaZe Clan. I mean, if they have a really rough week or rough day here, they could potentially take about Fex with 7 kills. Calm down, Fex.
Oof, big numbers coming in. Miracle and Vard getting themselves 3 pieces. And I think Iroh was able to contribute a little bit during all of this as well. So very impressive here by the TSM roster. That being said, some big numbers being put up by teams like Blaze here for us who were able to do things well. An example, of course, always showing up for Tornado Energy.
Yeah, I mean, seeing Tornado, they've been doing pretty decent now with the 6th kill here and the 5th place. But as you're saying, Blaze, of course, they got himself a 9th place here. It's not the best, but I mean, it's always the little glimmer of hope that you can see when they're sitting in the bottom right now. But they can push themselves up if they keep on doing this. We have 2 more games today, and it's all about setting yourself up for tomorrow. Where do you want to be sitting when you're going to be playing tomorrow? Do you want to be towards the top? Hello, Martin.
Hi.
Martin, there's a cat. Martin, what's the name of that cat?
This one?
Yeah.
Silly.
Silly?
Yeah.
We'll just call it Silly.
Yeah.
She demands cuddles, otherwise she's going to jump on the door.
You know, the best bit is that I asked this question knowing that it's going to be a ridiculous name because you are Danish.
Obviously. Yeah.
What's the other cat called? You got 2 cats, right?
Olivia.
Oh, okay, that's not as ridiculous, to be fair.
No, pretty normal.
Balls,
so Olivia
my
is
plans
the
are
bat
ruined.
hunter.
The bat, yeah, I suppose. Oh, the bat hunter, yeah. Inside jokes.
Olivia.
Anyway, moving on swiftly. Talking about Erangel coming up, of course, here when we actually look forwards. This is where effectively we do need FaZe to actually kind of show up for today for us, right? I mean, they've not had the best 2 games to start things off. They want to continue holding on to that first place position because it's been nigh on impossible to be able to catch up to FaZe up until this point here in the tournament so far.
Yeah, I mean, we saw FaZe getting himself 4 points in the first game there, getting a 9th place, and this one they got 10th place with 0 kills. You also got to consider it's been a little bit rough where they were playing from. They lost Uba pretty early there when they were playing East of Picado as well. And on top of that, Uba actually went for the crate as well. So we knew that he brought a arm and level 3 gear back to the team, of course, but it didn't work out anything from that so far. And this might be two of the worst games we've seen back-to-back from FaZe Clan so far, and it's not looking good. Looks like we might have some teams catching up to them right now.
Yeah, that'd be fair. I mean, even when they've had games that they've not done well in terms of placement, they've still got a lot of kills off the back of it anyway. But here are the overall standings to get things up to date and shaping up. And with TSM getting those 25 points, you're looking at those top 5, Martin, and realistically speaking, it's still anybody's game here.
It is, but also a massive difference in terms of prize pool. First place, 50,000. Second place, 30,000. Third place, 20. Fourth, 10. And if you're in fifth, 6,400, like everybody else from 5th to 8th. So massive difference, but extremely close on points here. And like, yeah, we're going to have some great days here. And TSM really showing up, the Liquid showing up so far. We have 2 more games to go. And I'm really curious to see how our kind of end of the day leaderboard is going to be, because this is stacking up closer than I expected it to be. And FaZe Clan, they're just 12 points from Shift W. FaZe Clan have a really bad game of this one. Shift W can win it, and they will literally take them over.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming into this weekend. There was a scenario for us where a lot of us saw FaZe is kind of effectively the divine of EU, because they were so far ahead in APAC. Now, people have caught up to them a little bit here with only a few games remaining. And now for FaZe, people are catching up here as well. So everything is evening up quite nicely.
I mean, this is what we would talk about in the pre-show as well, that FaZe Clan, they had a good lead. They had, an 18-point lead. But that has been cut down now because of them having 2 of the worst games in the tournament, more or less, back-to-back. And that means that the other teams are catching up, and they got to do something about it. And this is when you got to not start panicking. If you start panicking now, that's when you're going to start losing even more.
Yeah, especially since it felt like they'd almost, in essence, had the tournament kind of wrapped up from a lot of people's estimations. What other teams are you looking at, Martin, coming into Erangel, or maybe from the previous game? What are your thoughts?
Like in general, or just these top 5 teams here? Or
whoever you wanted to be looking at.
Okay. I'll look at anybody then. No, but overall, like Erangel is gonna be I feel like a much more even kind of rule for these, because some of these teams, and especially because they know so much about the map, like all the teams are so well versed in this map, and in terms of kind of advantages and drop spots, they even out a little bit more on Erangel, unless we see something crazy like 2 milli zones, back-to-back games. Let's not get that. Let's just get maybe 1. Let's see what happens.
Maybe 1. That would be all right. How about yourself, Ross, coming into Erangel? What are your thoughts?
Coming into Erangel, I mean, we got to look at 2 different teams, I'd say, which is Team Liquid and NLT. 2 teams that have been doing wonderful in the past 2 games here so far, getting themselves a 2nd and 3rd place each with some kills on top of that. No chicken dinner for those 2 teams, but they've been playing it so well, making it in no matter what kind of situation they're in. Look at Team Liquid in the last game there, for example, being on top of that hill, getting themselves down there. That was like so good. It's so hard. Normally we talk about how good it is having the high ground, but when you need to climb down from a high ground position like that in a totally open field towards all the other teams, it's super hard.
Were they saved to a certain degree by some of the plateaus that existed there for us? I mean, it felt like they were able to work with them so effectively compared to, as you say, a lack of cover elsewhere on those fields.
Yeah, I mean, it was down to the execution. We saw how they used the smokes to get closer down. And then, of course, when it came down to, they saw that, they saw the car that T-Bone drove in with, and they suspected someone would be there. I think they threw like 3 or 4 flashbangs before they peaked. I think it was 2 or 3 people peaked at the same time, took out T-Bone straight away and took that position. And of course, they were playing from those plateaus, but at the same time, as you could see, they were just going prone. You can't really stand up. You can't crouch, because when you do that, you're going to be seen by everyone else, and you're just going to get taken out.
Look at the change that can occur after just 2 games. Yes, they still have a 55% chance according to our championship projection here, Martin, but down from 73 after not having the best 2 games.
Yeah, but again, you can have two bad games, and you can have like wrap it up with a win and another good game, and they'll be even out, and they'll be decent. Shift W also only on 10 points so far today. They're going up though because there's a slightly more chance for them to have a run at it. Liquid though jumping up to 22.5, considering their start here. That's a pretty insane prediction, just based off 2 games. But 28 points in 2 games is also really, really good, and they could potentially get maybe 20 points, 25 points more from these 2 next games, and they're going to be looking at a 50-point plus day just from 4 games.
I mean, almost quadrupling the chances here, Team Liquid, but also TSM basically quadrupling their chances here for us, all things considered, after a monster 25-point game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good game, but we saw in the first game, of course, he got himself a 10th place with 3 kills. That's not going to be enough, even though it's 3 points, because they are chasing right now. They need to get a little bit more. I want to see them getting at least 5-6 points in a bad game like the first one they had. If they keep on doing that for the next upcoming 2 games, at least if they have bad games, that's going to be good. That's going to set them up for tomorrow.
I'm watching in the lobby as we've not started just yet. We're just waiting for all 64 players to join. But who is that on Team Ents that has literally ran like halfway across the map from the original spawn? Is it Rustamar? And speaking of Team Ents, of course, their last 2 games hasn't quite gone their way. Expected points yesterday, expected points today. It's gone down. Oh no. That's unfortunate. Likewise, so is Omakan's. So, yeah, the kind of having these 2 rough games, I suppose, Martin, can change the sway of like a few of these teams that are considered to be at the very top with, some different strategies here and there.
Yeah, but also we have to consider it's 2 games. They can go out and have 2 really good games now here, but still, Faceland 4 points in 2 games, Shift W 10, Ents 9, Omakan 3. Navi 6, Tornado Energy 9. Like it's out of these top teams here, there's only 3 teams that are performing in the 20s where they should be at, considering the projections here. So it's kind of expected that you're going to lose a bit of points and expected points as well. So we'll see how they're going to be able to kind of wrap up the day. I'm not too worried for them unless it's until we get into the 3rd game where they're still in single digits. Then I'm not too worried, honestly.
Yeah, I would say so as well. And when you look at other teams, Froz, that have been able to do pretty decently for themselves, I liked what Razor Edge was bringing in the first game. The second game, I can't quite remember where Razor Edge was during that.
13th place, 0 kills.
Was it 13th place, 0 kills? Yeah, so I mean, that's probably why I can't remember, right? And what do you think, Patrick, about kind of the addition of a doozy? Because we haven't quite got your kind of opinion regarding that addition, because for the most part, we've thought it's been a very welcome addition to the roster.
I mean, it's been a little bit up and down for Razor Edge throughout the whole finals so far, and it's kind of the same story that we've seen today. In the first game, they got himself a 6th place with 10 kills, really good. But then in the last game, they're 13th place, 0 kills, and that is the kind of thing that we see from Razor Edge right now. Hit or miss team, but you can't be that one. You gotta be consistent. That's what we always want to see. Even if you have a bad game, you need to have a few points. Having 0 points and a 13th place, and that is not too uncommon from Razor Edge right now. And that is never going to hold up if you want to be in the top.
Yeah, I would agree with that kind of statement. And when you look at other teams, Martin, of course, that, we kind of expected a bit more. All memes aside, I love myself, my Tornado Energy boys, but their road during this tournament hasn't been fantastic just yet. In the first game, they had that 15th place with 0 kills, but in the previous game, they had an opportunity to get themselves a decent swell of points, but it really didn't materialize for them. They were kind of the sheep stuck between all the wolves in that previous game, it felt like, almost.
It's been their first 3 days. 15 points in day 1 from kills only, no placement points. 17 in day 2. 15 kills, so 2 of them from points from placement, and 19 points in the 3rd day where they got 5 from placement. So that's really the story, that they've been able to frag out as they usually do, but they haven't been able to really double down on the placement points and get themselves into the 20s and the 30-point mark where you need to be if you want to be a consistent top 5 team.
Well, we're just waiting a few more moments before we actually get into this game. I assume we had a technical difficulty or something like that due to the fact that we're a little bit delayed for this lobby, but that is fine. We can continue on talking about some stuff here, Froz. So talk to me about, in terms of how the previous circle was working out. Of course, it was kind of very, very middle of the pack. We didn't have too many hard shifts up until kind of towards the end of things. When you were looking at Northern Lights' position, Patrick, and how they were able to play out those last final situations, I would say they had a pretty decent position throughout that circle. It just kind of didn't materialize for them going up against, you know, some of the other teams like TSM towards the end, but they really brought it to FaZe when it came to the fight for them, which I guess goes back to what you were saying about Team Liquid before, about their position, right?
Yeah, and I mean, we saw that it was circle 5 and 6, if I remember correctly, that shifted towards the north. But NLT, they came in from the west side there, and they basically had a lot of control over the whole map there. They could see a lot, they could play a lot of ridges and small dips, and from that they actually managed to work their way in slowly but steadily. And I feel like we saw a lot of good stuff coming out from Northern Lights compared to what we've seen previously in the finals so far. I mean, they got himself, of course, a 3rd place in the first game and now a 2nd place in the second game. That is huge to actually bring it up, even if the kill count isn't really there. 5 in the first one, 4 in the second one, but you got to work your way, baby steps, you know. Take it easy. Don't rush it all the way towards the top.
Yeah. Is it easy to get almost over eager in some of those positions, Martin, when you've got like huge swaths of the circle that you control? Is it easy to get a little bit too comfortable with your position in some of those moments there, Martin? Like
I will say over eager is a pretty good description. It's like over committing is often something we see teams do, especially when they feel like they have a lot of space. You can over commit and then you open yourself up to angles that you potentially didn't need to. I will say though, like I was just looking at in our map stream here. I'm looking at, I see them go forward. They then take a knock and they take the control that I think they should be taking here in this position. They get a knock and then they pull back from that and basically letting TSM into the circle from that, because they took this position while TSM was fighting Tornado Energy and kind of took the grounds that they could because they were able to, because they knew that they were fighting the compound. So actually perfect timing for that. But then they pulled back a little bit, giving up some space from Liquid because they Liquid put pressure on them. But I feel like they had Liquid cornered and could potentially also hold out TSM if they did it properly with the angles and how their terrain and topography worked on the map around that area. So I would like to have seen it turn out different for Northern Lights, but TSM they were just on a roll there. I asked Vard if he wanted to come for an interview real quick, but he didn't have a webcam, so he didn't want to, and he didn't have it set up. But he said he was happy to finally see a circle that benefited them. Usually, you know, like this, we've talked about it a few times, you know, home turf circles, and he feels like this is one of the first time having that. So it's good to see that they're step out like that.
I liked their northern rotation. It was good. But anyway, we are getting into things. It is time for Sims and Pansy to bring us our 3rd game of the day.
Oh, okay. Erangel time. Time to get a little excited here, Rich, because you know what? In classic PUBG fashion, we come into a final weekend. You know, it's a nice weekend. Hope you're all having a nice time. Thanks for hanging out, etc. And there's a team at the front. Right? There's a team at the front. We're like, FaZe. You know, it's not Sunday yet. Don't worry. But, you know, they're doing well. They're looking good. And they have a pretty average start to the day. It's not an atrocious start. It's not like what's gone on with the roster. But it's definitely not up to what we'd seen leading to this point. Now, whether or not anyone else can catch them, you know, the Shift Ws, Ences, Liquids of the world is yet to be seen. But it does open room, doesn't it? And it always seems to on these final days.
Especially when they've only garnered, don't get me wrong, 2 games is 2 games, but only 4 points across the last 2 Miramars that we've seen. While you've got Shift W, I think, have jumped 10. Liquid are up as well. They're on, well, I think it's 15. So other teams are starting to make note of that and take advantage of it. And again, it's just one of those things where we tomorrow we'll start to look at a numbers game, who's completely and utterly out of the running, who has to survive longest, blah blah blah. You know the drill. It's the placement race towards the end of the day. Circle like this will certainly benefit FaZe, then get the feet down in home turf and then crack on and take a wander up towards the north. Miraku has already got himself a knock in less than a minute, so GG for that one. Don't give him a dude.
He's got a new hood ornament. It's nice.
I like it. They're the new purchasables that are coming to games. You know, you can see it on the front of the car.
Get yourself a, you know, who was it who died? You know, Get your own ragdoll on the front. Alrighty. In place, no worries. It's a nice freebie to start with. I mean, a kill's a kill, right? All points hopefully mean prizes for them, and they could do with a couple of points. But look, at the circle is towards the east. Plane path was quite far to the south. Nothing too terrible, but, you know, relatively southern leaning with a little bit of a north touch at the end. But this does put a bit of a problem with the likes of maybe Northern Lights. I don't want to say Adepts because they can slot into the north, but someone who gets quite a nice shot at this isn't necessarily the teams that are centralized. I want to look at ENTS and how they approach this a little bit, because bear in mind they have the north to themselves. So they get the pick of the litter of where they want to come through. The rotation routes are quite clear too. They don't have to worry about going through teams unless they decide, yeah, we'll just run at Omicron, which obviously they're not going to do. So I'm actually quite interested in ENTS in this.
With how much space they actually have and viability, it's going to be fairly easy first few circles for them, regardless of where the next circle goes. They're going to be happy. They can just chill. You do have the compounds more towards the north side of Yasnaya that you can just play off the back of. We've seen a couple of circles during PCS1. I say more than a couple, to be fair. That went up that neck of the woods. Be able to play off the back of it. Just take the crossroads. Do what you like. Do what you want. Play off the plateau. Lepovka, again, if you're going to be lacking loot at this point, if you're all the way over on the western side of the map and you just want to bomb it over, it is an open place. Probably more so like someone down south of Farm or Sosnovka. Something like that. Lepovka could be that place where you just pick up the last bit of loot. FaZe Clan shouldn't be stopping there. I'd expect them maybe to start wrapping up through prison. We've seen them kind of linger around that area a fair few times. Liquid have opportunities to run the fields, maybe go the way of Heaven. Have to be careful on transition, though. Heaven, somewhere around the fields, with the back of the yellows. The field yellows just south of Yasnaya. There's options, and we have all these contact points, and it mainly comes down to not necessarily the greatest place to be in the late game and the end game. Yes, circles can be favorable, great, happy days, but there's other times and opportunities where they're just really good for scouting. These positions where you can just look onwards, get a quick bit of information on who's ahead of you. Is a compound taken? Is it open? Is there only one player from there that we can crash into and even just scare him out? To be fair, we've seen a few players that would rather dip and regroup with the roster rather than just die off the back of holding down a compound and pure ignorance. So there's, at the moment, for everyone, it's a fair amount of land to play with. Yes, we do have water in place, so towards Circle 2, Circle 3, it'll start to become a little bit more treacherous, a bit more dangerous. A position like this, though, that players are going to make note of and take control of, somewhere like Heaven, it's a big stepping stone. Gives you a good amount of, plenty of line of sight, plenty of information, good amount of land to play with, easy defendable. That's the main priority. But again, the stepping stone option is there, regardless of where the circle goes. They can just drive towards it, very clean and very easy.
Alrighty, clean and easy. It sounds so easy to say, yet in action. I'd love to see the points as they stand. That'd be great if we could have a little look on them. As right now, Mexi, James, and the boys heading quite close to TSM. I wonder if anyone loses anything with Mexi. Evasive maneuvers. Iroh's on the pull-up. He's actually committed to picking up the kill on that. A little bit brave. Mexi does try and ward away the shots, a little bit of suppressing fire, but for now, only Iroh really receiving a fair amount of flak from that. And it looks like TSM should be able to kind of keep them covered as the bumper cars come through. But yeah, points would be awesome in this, just so we can see exactly the storylines that all the people at home will be super interested in. That's the big one here, obviously. But cars moving around are very exciting too, I guess. There we go. Let's have a look. Right. So, ETG, where they at? 14th. No worries. Not too worried about them. WS, 11th. Again, not so fussed about these two, although they're on a similar path. Bear in mind, Offspring's already pulled up, so they're not too worried, but we're going to get a couple of shots through. Now let's look at the actual points and how they stand, because I think a lot of people are looking at those FaZe percentage chance wins, and I think people, obviously got to keep in mind where those facts are pulled from, and obviously their first couple of weekends, the first couple of performances were outstanding, so they might just be based off that. Now, considering how they play today, you've got to keep it into context. So this is where either we kind of see that statistics are only valuable with context applied, right, which is the general way to look at it. So FaZe actually aren't that far ahead of Shift W or Liquid anymore. That's a jumpable amount of points, especially in 2 games here. So if they again pull out with, let's say, a I don't know, how many points they had from the first two is quite low, right?
FaZe, it's
Yeah.
4 points in total of 2 games.
Okay. So, again, if they pull another one of these performances, that's when you need to start worrying. So this is, if for all the FaZe fans out there, put all your, eggs in the FaZe basket. If they pull out another 4-pointer, middle of the road, or lower than the road, I guess that's not a phrase, but whatever, then you should maybe keep your eyes on it, because that's where possibilities really do start opening up, because the scoreboard gets quite, even closer. But for now, looking at this one, we do have, it's not 50-50, maybe a 60-40 water, 70-30 to land to water ratio in this. No real heavy favored area, it seems, because there isn't, a portion of the circle, maybe the north slightly, is more divided by the water than anywhere else. But really, this is anyone's pick. It just seems to go Yaz Knight. Oh, gorgeous shot from Maxi there. From Yaz to pretty much Prison is all very playable.
Still plenty of teams playing on the cliff faces. It's not a bad place to be situated, given that we are only in Circle 1. You can kind of go anywhere. It's not quite central. A bit more towards the north than what I'd like. But again, anywhere below Yasnaya is going to be taken at this point, so I fully understand the ideology, if you will, behind it. Northern Lights still out in the blue, if you're wondering. Actually, players in and around Georgia, Paul. And they're going to be playing a long, late, slow game. The Deep's further afield. He's coming up on Zaki rather shortly at the tip of the spear, all the way to the north currently. Wanderer stands his ground and will be in defense of this one very small compound. And again, with open fields like this, it's been committed to. ETG have made the call. They've made note that there's only one play here, and that could be the weakness. With a bullet that comes through from Omakan, the Wanderer initial nade does find its target. If he gets in through the window, that'd be a fantastic, fantastic job done. There's even options to try and push on this if he really wants to. Has to avoid the nades that will come through first. If he hits that side window, that'd be a bloody good job. Takes stock of it, makes note. Able to get his teammate back on his feet. While he's taking a look now, and I'm kind of okay with it, I think the time has passed to take that fight, given the rest of them are on the way. Damage is done on arrival, but honestly, you can have 4 at the door any second. If your teammates aren't here to support, that's a bit of a scrappy place to be pushing up on the back of it. But they're already inside, Lauren, and this is, yeah, I don't know what else you can really do with it.
Yeah. No, you can't do much, can you? They made a good attempt of it. They really did try and do a little bit of something, but Maxi just have to watch as his buddy got slaughtered. Found in the attic. Well, that's not a phrase I wanted to say. Maxi, yeah, finds the last one. Spinning on. Breaks watching, in case you are wondering. If you ever fancy watching a once upon a time good player's perspective, head on over to the stream. Always good to hear his thoughts and, the community out there. It's one thing I really do love about PUBG. You've got a good community behind it. You guys do keep it fun, interesting, and a damn good time. But for now, we need to focus on the game at hand, and there has been a lot of early fighting, a lot of scrappy battles early on, but no full team has gone down, obviously. 16 still very much in this one. Wildcats. Bit of a shoddy village, isn't it? It's not great. Is that what the north looks like, Rich?
I mean, it depends if there's electricity or not. If there's no electricity, then yes, we'll roll with it. Okay, then it's probably going to be there. I mean, there's no running water there yet, so we're not, it's not that bad. We'll get started on the south. I know you get rather upset, Lauren. Don't,
Yeah, you're right.
just
right.
trash
and
my.
Let's see what they do. I really want to say. Okay, is it bad? I want to see Ents do well. I don't know. There's something about when they play good.
It's not.
It's like a little underdog. I think it's a British thing. We can't help but love underdogs. It's like, oh, the team is doing really well, and it's like really exciting. No. Show me the people who once upon a time were good. I think that's why we like Break. It all makes sense now. But at this point, Omar could have had a... I'm just flaming him now. He just tweeted at me. That's why I can't help myself. But Omakun, speaking of a team that were once doing quite well, they've had a bit of a rough one today. They've had, I think they're one of the first teams out on Miramar. They haven't had their usual, quite exciting playstyle. I quite like Omakun. They are a bit of a dark horse. They're definitely not like the, from 12th to 16th team. They're, middle of the pack towards top end. But I wouldn't put them yet in the FaZe, Liquids, Navis, even TSMs of the world. But they're close by, but they've had a really rough start, which is a little unfortunate to them. But outside of that, though, checking on the map, let's see where people are going. Big swing from Ents. That's interesting. They went from far north to all the way south. We've got Northern Lights coming as well towards Yasnaya. But everyone else pretty much posted up. I would like to see where Ents head to and where Northern Lights head to. They're the kind of question marks with me for now.
Well, with this circle, it kind of makes it a bit more stable. You know, it pulls away from Yasnaya Pond, it pulls away from Lipovka coastline, so we don't have, well, basically at this point there's the coast edge with the sand, but there's no water actually in play, so it becomes a little bit more unpredictable. But again, with the land, it's playable territory, so teams can be a lot more stabilizing for now. All of Northern Lights, for example, literally just sat on the edge with the vehicles, and now it's go time. Liquid's like, well, the flare went up, and unfortunately, should I say, the circle has come this way. With all the compounds, though, this will be a really big problem if you're not inside the circle. The only real... let's take a look. If Ents actually dip up, I say dip up, go it's up on the map, but actually downhill from them from that roadside. If they beat the bystanders to that compound just below them, which is the 3-stack compound, they're going to be laughing. If not, and if bystanders push them out, they're kind of buggered and they'll have to stay stationary now. WS will take the west edge of the circle and play the yellows for as long as they humanly can. It'll be in, it'll be safe. It won't be too much. Maybe Northern Lights actually run into ETG because they're about to cross in the north. Omicron have taken the very last, and I was going to touch on it, the very last compound in the north. It's inside. It's the yellows towards the field, which is just left of all this happening. Well, that's an interesting way of doing it. All right. Crash me, I'll crash you. Not a problem. Thank you very much. GG, and it's job done. Spyro holds on the 2 versus 1. And Thunder and Forever get backhanded.
Yeah, that was quite swift, wasn't it? That's going to sting a little. And you're right to mention that Ents, bystanders, and potentially WS battle now the rest of, because it is quite an important compound there. You saw Orange was even dipping into it earlier on. He was a little bit disconnected from the others, trying to ensure maybe they could get that if they fancied. But the roads become actually a really big factor in this. And for those who, maybe only just tune in once in a while and they, you don't play that much anymore and you're old and decrepit like I, hold on, Tixu. Oh, don't do this, Tixu. Everything was looking so good. What are you doing to me, Tixu? Oh, Ents. Making a bit of a fumble there. Tixu maybe trying to get a little bit of territory, maybe secure a little bit, but he came into this blind. It was quite late as well. They'd been posted up on this side for a moment or two. They saw obviously bystanders go into position. But rolling into that, I'm not all that impressed. Lovely positioning, just T-boning the car. Spyro, you're an animal.
Did he seat swap into the car that hit him?
No, I don't think so.
That was really bizarre how he just... I don't know. It'd be good to see that again. I don't know how he actually managed to survive that with it, because he went forward.
Play it again.
Can we get that replay again? I want to see if he did, that's like some... beyond 1 billion IQ. If he seat swapped to that car, that's it. I don't know. It was a bit weird, a bit funky, and maybe that's how he got away with it. Who knows? Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Right,
Ents on the move, and we said that they could no longer take that compound, the bystanders. They'd have been in a great position if they'd gone just that moment early, but again, with so much land really not playable at this point, you've got to take and you've got to work with whatever's left over. The hillside will be kind of okay because you're up in the air, you're out of line of sight for many people. That's an interesting one. So we bop down to the south and now bop back up to the north. Liquid are still sitting pretty, and we call that compound the Liquid compound from ages, a dog age ago. And finally it's come through.
And here we go. TSM. Ooh, God, Miraku is lucky to be alive, but he's got support, he's got friends. Miraku's not alone. And TSM hold. They lost Fex, but he's recoverable. Fine. That was a manic crash. Everyone piled in. TSM hold ground. They're doing well today. And what position are they in right now? Oh, they're back. They're up in 4th. All right, boys. I'm gonna give you back a little bit of credit here, because honestly, I'm when I see break back in the boys, I'm like, all right, well, you write them off. But maybe I did it a little too soon. If they come out with a belter of a game today, they are right back in for a chance of things. 127 points is something to be truly impressed by. Offstring he's hiding. He's creeping outside the windows, he's peering in at night, he doesn't want to be found. So, Na'Vi catching the depths on the move. Philo is a one-shot. He gets caught by a stray bullet, he will be dead, and it's actually Noki to go down out of all of them. Blaze just found the Wildcats, it looks like, and even Mexi chiming in with a little bit, stealing some points away. And here comes the remainder, I guess, of Adepts. They tried to pull it together, but, coming in bits and pieces, limping into this. going to do you well. Lovely Tokyo drifting. Stylish as ever, Furax, but he's made it to the position, but he's all alone.
Smokes are down, you can see in the distance, but there's no bodies to really make use of them. Offstring still just crouching around and hoping that no one sees him, tapping forward so there's no footsteps made. It's a very slow process, but you know what, it actually works. No one can hear you when you do tap forward like that, so clearly trying to stay alive and be an anchor point for the rest. Okay, that's interesting. That might be the go signal for the rest of the team to rally together and get inside this building, because it's Batulin's on his own. The rest of them are just run away from it. They'll actually see him jumping off the top, and now Volcano can be theirs. They can take full ownership of this, move away from that. They've just been gifted it. They do eventually, you know, don't get me wrong, but you're going to have to move next circle no matter what happens. Yeah. Northern Lights have a slightly better bit of territory compared to them. Let's take a look where everyone else kind of... Jesus, actually, this has paid off rent.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look real quick. They've gone for not a full pull-up. It's not a full commitment. They've gone early. They've gone out of the vehicles early on towards the top of the hill. And there's a fair enough amount of room up there that they can work around this. Not in a huge hurry by the blue, but they're going to have to move eventually. Na'Vi and FaZe. Now that's a fight. Let's see what FaZe can do here. The question marks are with them at the moment. They've not had the best... Oh, this off angle. You're dead. Don't fight Uber in here. He's got his name. His face is on those walls. You don't come into this area lightly. But now Uber has to walk away. His teammates have been slaughtered. 2 kills only. Maybe if he gets a res, this game on. But no, Senya denies. Big pickup. Now Orange is on the way. You've got them all amongst this. It's just Uber. The CIS got against the CIS team. And now you're going to see the spray come out. It doesn't matter. Na'Vi take down FaZe. That's 13th place with only 2 points, I think. That's a big problem for these guys. Bystanders on the pull-up. Somehow Maxi denied it all with Offstring. Well played between those two. But this is when we got to look towards the top now. TSM, who else was up there? I think Liquid was up there. It was ENCE and Shift W, right? So these 4 teams, suddenly, game on. You see FaZe go down, you know there's a little bit more of a chance for you, that touch more incentive to make that push.
Well, every single team needs to just lay into FaZe today, because we know what day it is tomorrow, and if there is any day of the week that they're going to turn up, it'll be a Grand Championship Sunday. But of course, it is Saturday, and unfortunately, 3 games in, they are struggling. I think it's, I mean, what, they're on 100, it's the Ghana 2 points average a game so far is absolutely not gonna cut it when there's 50k on the line for their spot. They've got a big target painted on all 4 of their members' backs. And backs go up against the wall. Well, sometimes FaZe does come out on top, so it's, you know, we'll kind of leave it there. But certainly for everybody else now, they understand the lay of the land. They understand what's happening here, and there is ample opportunity. TSM is one team in particular that is taking full advantage of this. To jump up, they weren't even in the top 6 when we came in today. Now they're just, you know, they're a couple of points shy of 3rd position. This is, I mean, Martin said, or is it Froz? Someone said potentially Curse of the Caster on James's side. That's got to hurt. But yeah, James looks like he's picking a real winner today so far. They are firing on all cylinders. The position that they have now isn't the greatest, so you know, let's not curse them completely out of the competition thus yet for this map. Certainly, they've got a lot of work to do. They've got to get through ENCE first if they want to stand any chance of seeing top 5 in this game.
Okay, TSM, what are you going to do with this then? Same with Shift W, but they've got an easier path because they've got Chris and Killikai already across the road. Now, where's TSM going with this? Hold on, this is going nowhere. What? Nades coming out. Liquid's about to destroy these boys. There's nothing they can do. Here comes the fire. It's eliminating the combination. Iroh is dead. The bombardment continues. Goodbye, TSM. That was not a good move. I'm going to be honest. That looked short-sighted. I know it's probably their only option that they thought they had, but not including Shift W in their plans, not realizing the Liquid were well and truly within nade range. I don't know if that was the best of ideas. And now look at Shift W just mopping up all the goodies. The goblins are here to take all the loot. They're happy. They're just rolling in it. And I guess there are very few good options, but sometimes it's got to be something better than that. That felt short-sighted to me.
I don't know if one of them hit a tree by mistake, if they were actually going to go for the full send, but Liquid was there with the pre-nades down. Before even 2 of the vehicles turned up, there were already nades just laying on the floor unticked. The damage was collateral. The 10th position. Hedged into the tombstone, unfortunately. Nothing they can do about that. It was a good mop, but you know, when we look at the numbers game here, Lauren, and what that does when you're trying to get up into that top echelon, when you're trying to get up in the scoreboard, you've just fed 2 opponents that are above you. You've fed Shift W all your loot in the world to maybe try and tackle Team Liquid head on, and you just give him Team Liquid more points. It's a bit unfortunate. Of course, you don't nose there. I mean, it's Liquid Compound. Maybe you did nose there. That's another story altogether. But yeah, it just makes it that much harder, unfortunately, when you're feeding teams who are just above you in the rankings.
Now, I do want to highlight, and this could be very short-lived, but WS have done really well as just, I think it's just 2 of them playing together at the moment. They've done really, really well to stay alive and work their way through a hard part of the circle. They may not be alive for much longer, but while they did that work, you got to kind of enjoy what they were doing there. Very good work from them. Push themselves within the top 10. 99 points. Let's see if the nade's going to be any good. He's running forward. Nade out. Oh, bam! Nah. 6 damage. We're not doing that. Round 2, maybe? That's okay. It's not doing much damage. But it's scaring them. It scares them enough. The barrels come out to play. So nicely handled by Blaze here, but there is still Gemty. Don't get ahead of yourselves, boys. Gemty's a danger at any time of the game. Molly in. Blaze playing a very dangerous game because WS are moving up in the meantime. Keep that in mind. And these guys are just playing a game of, you know, carefree PUBG. They're just having a good time now.
I do like the flashbangs for the grenade then. Secondary one. Keep him whited open. Eventually the smoke will go down. Reveal his position. It should be an easy frag. While I really like this addition, that's cock on, right? Yeah, that's actually hit him. That should be an easy frag.
Oh.
Gets it. Job done in the end. But the problem is the example that you just saw directly in front of your face. Eventually coming out of there proves so difficult. You're in a beveled area. Nades are always going to roll to you from a central point. One smoke. There's really no hard cover whatsoever. It's extremely difficult to work when you're on the opposing side. Yes, there's survivability factor, but after that, more than that, there isn't too much. Could be said the same for Ents, and the quicker that I try and move on to that story that instantly eliminated Blaze. Back on the defensive, though, because more teams have arrived at the door. This time it's WS. They're just in the next ditch along. The nades will continue. Does Deep realize that off strings to his left-hand side? It's a bit of a 3-way battle. Grenades raining down could cause holy hell on the side of Blaze. All 4 of them are in there. One well-placed frag is going to do so much damage. Up and over we go for Northern Lights. They remove him for that position. And now maybe they make note of the team that was next to them along the way. This could be the next objective. And if Northern Lights get in early while they're weakened, there'll be 4 easy frags on the board.
Here we go, Northern Lights. Let's see what you got here. They're just about to go on the move. Here's a replay of... Oh, this is Ents being destroyed. Oh, that looked like Breaks Cleo there. How interesting. Nice. That was reliable. But we are going to be seeing Blaze be engaged on. You saw Northern Lights kind of posturing for it early on. These guys want to sweep and clear. They've got to get rid of this area, and Blaze are the nuisance, right? They're currently holding the keys to maybe pressuring Liquid late game. But Liquid are the kings of the castle. This compound is great for them. Shift W on the move. I want to see this. Brexco's just found Shiv, but Zocca's lost life. So this is not without a bit of a loss here as well. 2 fights on 2 fronts. Now Blaze aren't in a position to do much with, so I'm not too worried about them. They're down in second to last. They can cause Northern Lights issues, but they're also not a team within the top 10. Or excuse me, like the top 5 that I want to be looking at. It's the other fight. It's the Shift W. You raise your edge. You're Liquid now on the push. This is going to be the fun one. Looking at Monkey, he knows he's trying to get rid of these guys quickly because Mexi and Clib have just pushed out of their compounds. They're starting to get a little bit fruity with this. I like it. Mexi there towards Monkey. Clean up crews turned up. Shift W go down. They're eliminated in 4th. Not bad. You'll be happy enough with that and raise your edge with a boatload of kills, but Liquid are on the case. Jeems takes down Rip. This is looking good for the Liquid gang. And bear in mind, they're just behind Shift W. Just. So a good finish, couple more kills. That could be a 2nd place. That's a big jump up there for them, and that puts them right behind FaZe. They could close the gap in the final game, potentially, if they win this in a convincing fashion.
You'd have to imagine that Liquid can clear these guys out cleanly because they're bottlenecked, right? There's no real way they can go. They either go up and over the hill and tackle them head on, or they try and belt it through the middle of the map. Really, while you're stalled like this, Liquid should be looking in anticipation of it. You take the top side of the building that they have, get a clearer line of sight into anyone who wants to just show themselves. Udyr trying to build a little bit of a bridge in the middle. Help out his teammate on the side of a doozy. Doesn't go the way as planned. Liquid have been fantastic this game. This compound has been so good. Yes, the circle's been extremely favorable to them, but they have not rested on their laurels. They've gone out. They've worked for it. They've, got in nade range of TSM. They've got in kill range of Blade. They've done a lot of work to be able to keep control of this, and I'm a fan of it. They're not just turtle back and hope the circle comes to them and live it out along the circle. Everyone has had to do some work, and Liquid have done just that. Now, sitting 5 points behind Shift W, they could jump here. They really, really could. And, I mean, what? 4, 5, 6 kills? If they pick up all the frags, that's them jumping them, plus the 10 points on the end. They're going to be within touching distance of FaZe if they clear this lobby.
Here we go, Blaze, this pull-up time. Let's see if Liquid can control it. Early Molly's going out. They're trying to light that floor on fire. And it helps out that they found Rip. A Doozy chiming in as well. He wants to steal these points away. He wants some for Erasure Edge. Put them in the pocket, 101 points, one more, and they'll jump WS. Exactly what they're eyeing up. Lazza has made it inside. The rest of the team, oh no, Apocalypse still there too. He was just on the hillside still. Oh gosh, and the blue moving in. I don't know what he can do with this. Jeems is on the ground now. Clib's out there. Clib's aggressive. I think he just ate the flash of Jeems though, which isn't ideal. Let's see if Lazza can do any damage here. They're all out hunting. There's a chance if they overstep, they get too greedy. No, perfectly played by Mexi. Apocalypse can't trade it. Bit of damage done, but this is what they wanted. There we go. Liquid mopping up the kills. They're going to be jumping anytime soon now. Raise your edge. These two players, a Deer and a Doozy, I wouldn't have thought they'd be on the same team together, but they are both heavyweight fighters when it comes down to it. They are some really talented players. And if this centralizes in the way I think it will, Liquid will have to leave that compound. So I'm waiting to see if they get a knock like that, it's game on. Suddenly, Jeems goes down. Can't flush it, but time is of the essence. So they're going to have to consider, okay, how much ground do we lose? How much time do we lose picking up this player? Hopefully for them, they can do it for free. They can do it safely. Now, Liquid will have to leave this compound. I don't know what their util's like, but Udir's is nutty. 3'd up, geared up. Plenty of util to play with. Vehicle as well for a Doozy. Going to move it forward, try and build up a bit of a last stand bastion here.
This is the thing, while Liquid has manpower, the Doozy and Udir have a crossfire setup. They cover more ground and they have a more centralized position where Liquid has to approach them. Liquid has to attack them in my... Oh, I don't know, actually, now I look at that compound, that wall's closer to the center than what I think Raise Your Edge are. I actually genuinely think Liquid could survive them and live them out by playing the wall.
Potentially, yeah. It depends on how much they use these vehicles to just build a bridge forward. Smokes up, smoke up, smoke up. Keep moving forward in this. It's going to be tricky, but it's possible when you've got players like a Doozy trying to stay alive. Udir is down low, but a Doozy's made it to the compound. That's the move he needed. Quick first aid. They can't deal with him fast. Mexi's been knocked. So Liquid down to 3. Raise Your Edge are currently leading the tempo, and that's really big. So he's been spotted by 2. He needs Udir to help him out. Sprays on 1. The Scar's back out. It is looking good. A Doozy gets caught in the doorway. He's down. And Udir left in a 1v4? Oh gosh, this might be a little bit too far out even for him. Molly's up. Everything's been put out to this one. Udir's got a smoke to stay alive in. That's all he's got to play with. And down he goes. Liquid. They will not accept the fact that they were not meant to be looking good today. They're not meant to be looking good this tournament. On those first couple of times we saw these guys were like, okay, Liquid, what's going on? This isn't right. FaZe have turned up. They're looking great. Couple of weird pieces here and there. But the later portion of this tournament, Liquid have arrived. And I want to give credit, though, to Raise Your Edge for looking really competitive in that final circle.
I mean, it was 2 players working in tandem. You saw Udir was just been an anchor in the middle, distracting them and drawing attention, which allowed Doozy to pull up behind them. I have to say, I think towards the end there, with his maneuver that he was doing for the building, he double-thinked himself. He double-questioned which way to go. He saw all the players on the top, and I get it. And I think he was looking towards the building, but ended up getting caught on the doorway, which ultimately ended his life. If he had continued to that building, then he could have had a standing chance, drawn attention again, maybe let Udir do something. But still, regardless, to claim second, you can't be complaining. But Liquid at the moment, a little bit disappointing what happened to TSM. Again, you love to see the bigger teams towards the top find it out to give us that good end game, but still, you cannot question anything at all. Everyone's starting to step up now, and this is setting us up for a fantastic championship Sunday.
Oh, there's still another game to go as well, Rich. I don't know what's going to happen. Right, back to the desk, boys. What's the leaderboard looking like?
Yeah, James is muted.
Yeah, James is muted.
That's a anyway. Okay, it's time. Yes, we're back. Team Liquid getting themselves a great spot here and getting themselves a victory. The leaderboards are looking good, and let's take a look at some of the highlights. Of course, after all the predictions have been said and done, one member here did so well with the predictions so far as Team Liquid have been able to seize that top spot. Well done, Martin. Great stuff so far by you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I was so happy to.
Every time.
Okay, wow.
Martin, talk to me about the highlights.
Not too much to say then. I didn't realize that Pochinki had circle magnets to loot, because Liquid definitely had won that game. But that's and it was not just, you know, one or two, it was a lot of them, but they still played it out well. They defended the compound extremely well and got a lot of kills with it. We saw the first circle go southwest, another one go north, and in the fourth circle, the one of the most crucial ones, they were dead center in the so-called Liquid compound, and that really turned out well for them. Managed to go out and take out TSM. They managed to defend it so well throughout the whole game, and they moved out from Pochinki to make sure that they got that compound at the 4-minute mark. So that was super early on as well.
Froz, thoughts?
I mean, one of the things we talked about that you saw during the game as well, of course, this is what we were talking about. When TSM was breaching, we saw that Liquid was throwing a lot of nades, and then Shift W took that spot right after. But Liquid didn't have any more nades by then, so that was a good move from Shift W. But as Martin said as well, that was really good hold from Liquid. There's a reason, as Martin said during the game as well, there's a reason why we call that compound the Liquid compound. We also saw towards the end, of course, how Liquid was utilizing the rooftop, making sure to get a little bit better sideline towards Razor Edge as well.
Yeah, they had such a strong hold on it. It was very impressive to see. Towards the end, it was nigh on impossible for Razor Edge to make something happen. They valiantly tried to fight this out, Martin, towards the end. So kudos to them, but it's just too little too late against Team Liquid in the position that they were in.
And there were two guys alive. There's not much to do. Aduza tried to make a nice move here by breaching the compound while they got a knock, and I actually like that. He maybe overcommitted too much on the side there. He should probably take in the front wall, and could potentially have been in a better spot. 5 points though from the bottom. Wow. Hate, holy.
That is rare, very rare. 9th through 16th, only 5 points between them. And we have 21 points coming in for Team Liquid. What a day they have had so far. I think it's been 14, 14, 21 coming in for them. Razor Edge 14 and Blaze get 14. Froz. It's okay. Kudos to you, Froz. You did predict Liquid. So far, it's been a blinder of a day. Yeah,
I mean, I think they surpassed my expectations as well for today. So far, they are tied up for the record of one day, which is a win streak on day 2 with 49 points. But them tying up that with one game left as well, and it doesn't look like they're about to stop right now either.
Glib and Mex is showing up, but at the same time for win streak, we have Ostring as well as Maxazor popping on up 2 here. And actually, Martin, Maxazor has been a staple of some of these upper echelons when it comes to win streak. They've had, I mean, if you think about the group stages as well as what they've been doing here so far, I think win streak's been doing damn fine.
They've been doing very well, yeah. Offstring 20 kills so far, not including this game, and Maxazor 17. It's great to see them step up like this, and they're able to maintain a really high average damage ratio per map they're playing. So overall in the tournament, they've been able to perform extremely well. And again, these guys are extremely experienced. We can't really take too much away from these guys. They've been around. They played LANs. They've got the experience, and they're coming together very nicely here as a newer roster.
And of course, at home, guys, the Pick'em Challenge is still on to a certain degree. You can't pick any more winners as to who you think is going to be winning things out. But if you bind your Twitch account to your Steam account, you can be earning esports points just by watching the show. So make sure you do that up to, I think, a total of 20,000 esports points. I've got all my points, so I'm very, very happy. But if you haven't done it already, you should do that. We're going to go to a short break, ladies and gentlemen. And when we return, we have our final game of the day. We'll see you in a few. We love these ones. We love Guess Who so much. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have one game remaining for today. I heard Floof scrambling around in the back. I don't know if anybody saw her. But the elusive Floof is somewhere chasing toys left to right and center. We have got one more game coming up, and it will be on Erangel. I've got Froz as well as Martin with me here for our final game. And so far, so good for Team Liquid. I can't wait to look at the actual overall leaderboards. But we also have Toffee's here as well, who has a cat. Hello, cat.
And a cat as well. Oh, little kitty. Aww.
Hey, this is Jake. Sorry, I didn't know we were starting right away, so he was napping. I didn't want to bother him. Hey, glad to be here,
No,
guys.
that's fine.
Good to see you.
Yeah, happy to have you here as well. It's been a little while.
You know, I'm glad to see how Liquid's doing. I remember I've been watching with you guys today, and when Martin brought him up earlier and said Liquid, you know, has those big days, I didn't expect it to be like this. So, kudos, Martin.
Yeah, this has been a really big day, to say the least. What was the? I know you said your prediction was Team Liquid. What was the cat's prediction?
Yeah.
Who was?
His prediction was nice sleep, and he actually took a depth. I don't think he's been watching a lot lately, though. So, I think that was just a bad call.
Just a sleepy cat. Sleepy cat.
Unfortunately.
Actually, we've all got pets like running around. I've got Floof in the background playing with toys. Martin had the cat as well. Frost, where's your pet?
It's not at home right now.
Oh, okay then. All right. What?
Wait.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Anyway, let's talk about the last game. Of course, coming up, we've got one more game of Erangel. In fact, Toffees, you know, after watching today, aside from obviously Liquid having a fantastic game, what have you taken away from this so far?
I mean, my big takeaway is it's been fun to watch. Most of the teams put up a fight, if that makes sense. It's very competitive. The thought process is good, but I think to me, we used to joke a long time ago with the old Liquid roster. You know, it's like FaZe Sundays, Liquid one day, and that's what I've been really impressed with. I mean, Clib has put up some big numbers. Liquid seems to be making very good choices, and also just smart play. Like that backfill we saw. I think it was W-Click got absolutely massacred by Liquid trying to push the noob compound, and the backfill was it W-Click that got massacred there?
W-Click, the Latam team.
Yeah, sorry. The backfill was amazing though. Like they counted the amount of grenades that were thrown out. They knew exactly what Liquid had available. They backfilled. They took over the area. It's just really clean play, and it's a pleasure to watch, to be honest with you.
Indeed.
Like across the board.
Can you see what's going on here, Martin?
Yeah, I see. There's
are we distracted by the
throwing
flu?
toys?
The flu.
Yeah.
Apparently, they just brought me on for pet show and tell day.
Yeah, look, little Floof just about here with a toy in her mouth, waiting to. Anyway, whatever. Go away, Floof. Right, we've got one more game to go for today. It's serious time. It's the grand finals. We've got pets everywhere. It's chaos. But looking at how things are going to go down, I have to agree, Toffees, when you see Shift W making those moves after seeing TSM get decimated and wiped off the map by explosives, it's very impressive to see, Patrick. And Froz, when you look at Shift W, it's not necessarily their progression throughout this tournament, but it's just their power throughout this tournament, and their decision making has been so good.
I mean, what we've seen today is less of splits, I'd say, which we saw normally for week 1 and 2 of the finals from Shift W. But today they've been sticking together a little bit more. It's not working out as good as it done in the past, I'd say, when they had the splits. But at the same time, they are still racking up the points. They're still catching up to FaZe. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of working out for them in a way, even if I kind of doesn't like it as much as the splits, because I feel like the splits is something that is very unusual, that we see that kind of big splits from a team, but they play it so well that I kind of want to see more of that from them.
I'm going to be honest, for FaZe, I'm scared if they don't get some points off the back of this game. I think it could be a bit difficult, Martin, coming into tomorrow for them to get their head back in the game and try and find themselves a situation.
Yeah, honestly, I think I'm beyond scared right now. Like, if I'm a FaZe player, sure, I know that we're a great team, but they've made 6 points today, and Liquid's done 49. So that kind of lead that they had is lost. They're 4 points behind now. FaZe Clan is currently in second, and they're, you know, Liquid is looking really, really scary in terms of momentum because you can really build off that, especially within the same day. We have one more game to go today, and then tomorrow with 4 games to go, potentially being in the lead, potentially having a really big momentum to play off of.
Yeah, it is looking scary. FaZe is on the back foot, and Team Liquid is hungry. Sims and Pansy bring us the final game of the day.
Ooh, it'd be an absolute pleasure to. Okay, east to west. Back in we go. All right, FaZe. I know we like a FaZe Sunday. I know we like it, but just make it easier for those FaZe fans. They're having heart palpitations out there. They're saying, please, guys, stop. Stop it. We just want a nice, easy day. And this could be a nice day if it does go to the east side. We've seen a couple of those Milta circles, haven't we? More than I feel like we've had in a while. We've had a lot of those Milta endings, which is really quite fun to see. But outside of that, though, a very south, leaning path. This could be maybe a Millie Island. We've got a little bit of potential here.
You speak about FaZe fans, it's the Liquid fans at the moment that are going to be screaming with joy because they are one step closer to $50,000. Top of the table now, I do believe. Like, that is such a frightful prospect that we've got so many teams that are now finding out come tomorrow finding out for that first spot. Like, there's a lot on the line, and there's a lot to be said. I think even TSM now, they've managed to get themselves back. It was a bit of a, not a poor game by any means, but just a bit of a poor decision to run into Liquid like that, unfortunately, whether something went wrong on way, which I think it did. I'm pretty sure one of them accidentally stalled against the tree and just clipped it, and they had to commit to it. But again, you can't count out that Liquid's aggression accepted that and took full advantage of the situation, claimed them, removed them. The rest is history. No matter what happens today, now we head today, we're definitely going to be installed for a fantastic, an absolutely fantastic day tomorrow. Not as if what?
Don't worry about it. It's all good.
This is fine.
This is fine. Throws Molly on the floor, sets fire to everything. Where is that circle hitting? Okay, so it's kind of centralizing on the Gatka field-ish, so keep that in mind as we go forward. Someone like FaZe, Omakan, who else would I be looking at? Really, Shift W. Shift W aren't in that much of a bad spot. But interesting drop from Ents, a little different than usual. They didn't head up the coast. Obviously, very, very hard for them to go to that very northern portion if they did decide to keep going. So maybe this is just the best of the bad situation. Probably not a bad spot at all, actually. Sitting. Which team was it back in the day? Is it Tempo Storm? Who used to make that their drop on that west coast every single time?
Yeah, because they used to. Tempo have done it or Tempo did it for a long time. But even like back in the day, I always remember 2017 vibes where they would just drive up West Coast and pop every bleeding tire so no one else could take a vehicle or rotate off of it. It's still probably one of the best teams NA ever managed to pump out, and they went on to destroy all of it, if not all of MPL. To be fair to him, it was a damn fine run from the boys. Bit of a throwback there for you, though, Christ. It's a decent
a little
one to
bit.
think about.
I'm just actually watching that TSM clip back. I wanted to see what happened. Honestly, it looked... Yeah, I think it was just purely a mistake. I don't know what happened there. Miraku got picked really early. I was just trying to get some context because I said, looking at TSM here, that could have been...
Of the second one?
I think Fex... Well, the thing is that Fex kind of pulled up, but he was also tagged down to a one-shot. So I think, honestly, it was just a bit of an error. I will chalk that to an error. I'd love to hear their perspective, like, what made that happen? What was that cool? I think that's the one thing I'd love to be able to, sit down with those players afterwards and be like, right, you're in this predicament. What information did you have? Obviously, we get to see everything. So sometimes decisions look really weird, or they don't, seem as informed. Obviously, they don't have maps and, full vision on who's there and who's here. But I'd love to have known what they knew and what their intentions were towards that. But all that aside, though, we are on board with the guys who kind of tore things up. They have been pipped to the post now, sitting in second place, if I'm not mistaken. So for them, bit of a wake-up call here. They've had a rough day. But even with that in mind, I want to see them recover here. This isn't the best circle for them, but, they've had a couple of Milta endings. They don't need good circles.
I can't remember. Have they ended every single weekend on top so far? They must have had at least one day from every weekend so far on top. They've been playing some lights out PUBG. Credit to them where it's due. Again, it's kind of what I won't say a return to form because you can't really say FaZe have fallen out of form, but they've not been, at one point they had a bit of a couple of month low point. You want to say somewhere between top 8 low, but it's not the the true phase didn't come through for some of the last events. But now we are seeing that full effect of it. Liquid, again, just clutching it up when it matters most. But we've seen what can happen to Liquid. We've seen that they can, in these competitions, get 1 point across 4 days from every single team. And this is what I do like about PUBG. You never know which team sometimes is going to turn up. You can have an absolutely piss-poor performance, and then day 2, just turn it around and just, I mean, pull a Na'Vi and win 4 frigging games in a row. Even Na'Vi, I know they've not had the greatest runs today. You know, it's not bad, but it's not the Na'Vi-esque run. And when you think back and think, well, this is a team that, against all this kind of lobby, won 4 games in a row. If they can do it on that day, there's no reason why they can't turn it around and do it tomorrow. Is it a shot in the dark? Is it a hard job? Absolutely. And I don't want to take that away and discredit in any way, shape, or form. Winning 2 games in a row at this lobby is hard work at this level. But it does show that anything's possible. And even though, regardless of what position you're in come Championship Sunday,
Flammy.
you can jump up that league table quite happily.
Oh, bless him. Orange, let him be. Oh, Hjort's going to come back, maybe try and bump the car. Give him a ride. Oh, poor old Flammy. He's had a horrible day. He's trying to get into the office. You know, there was a queue at the Starbucks.
Oh,
no. Flammy. I love their little icon for the bystanders, too. I think, you know, the little I-beam deer is very adorable. It's very upsetting. Well, for Na'Vi, it's anything but upsetting. They are chuffed with this. They're very happy. Couple of points, nice and quick, nice and easy. You'll take that any day of the week.
Beamy's a player on that roster that's really impressed me more recently. Again, it's when you start to play at this level, you've got to get used to it. You live and learn, right? You just keep qualifying through these events. I mean, if it's been track record, certain events have qualified you through to the next and guaranteed placement. So that's why you always want to try and do better and better yourself next time round. I don't know what happens in full detail, qualifying teams for this one once it goes to the next PCS3 stage, so I'm not going to talk about that just yet because I don't have it confirmed in my mind. But yeah, it's a matter of playing it out and seeing where you stand off the back of this one. But certainly, Beamy has been a bit of a standout performer and just shown that he can handle himself. And I still think it's nice that even this far into the game's life, we are seeing new teams pop up here and there. Yes, granted, we know those players. We've seen them on different rosters. We've seen them bopping around. But it's always nice to see that they're still alive and kicking, and there's still signs of life within people. I mean, Northern Lights and even... Don't get me wrong, Tornado Energy's always been there. We always know they've supported rosters and fielded rosters in PUBG, but they were never up at the top end. And all of a sudden, for the last few events, it was like, wow, okay. Russia and Ukraine are just now blasting players out the door and they're destroying the entire European and Western scene. But it's, yeah, it's good. I'm a big fan, and long may it continue. Obviously, you take away from this a lot. You can take away your learnings. You can see where you went wrong and try and come back stronger. But it's never so easy in a game like PUBG when you have such cemented players.
Yeah. I love seeing new players. I think it's something that makes the game show that it does actually still have so much life in it. But still, even with that in mind, like Killikai is a name that I was certainly not too used to, but he's been proving very, very valuable to the Shift W roster. He's looked quite good in this one. And all this aside, the drops coming in, looking up in the air. How is there anyone who's not in a good spot yet? Everyone's within the circle, so there's not too many problems. Na'Vi, that's really quite ambitious, isn't it? We know the SLR's good. Got the little comp on the end. Oh, go on over. Come out. Oh, blimey. Massive shot half from the Chinky to, where is that, the hillside? It's not bad, is it? Poor old Killer Kai, I said his name. Dead. Feels bad. Shift W, though, going to break away, and what this means, though, we've got to, again, consider the points and where they were sitting. They could have done with a nice late game finish with all 4 alive. That's it. It's not essential, and people are like, oh, what does it matter if they have 4 or not? It just gives you options. It gives you so many more capabilities with 4. You can still scout effectively while, you know, or use them as a pivot point. It just gives you a little bit more flexibility towards it. And obviously, a great deal more utility is kept on that player. So, I feel like I don't need to explain it to most people, but I've seen very, very silly humans questioning things. But what this means, the shift to the south, we might get a Fields ending. Now, I'm hoping we don't, but it's been a minute, so I feel like we're overdue one. So who does this play well for? You got to look towards Raise Your Edge, Bystanders, Northern Lights, Na'Vi, Tornado Energy. The Southern kind of band on this, because they're not moving, not doing too much. They're kind of where they are. Tornado Energy are getting quite close towards Na'Vi, though. I'm seeing UMPs. So whatever's happened, the loot ain't great.
All right. I mean, at least it tanks up with the barrel, right? So you've got some kind of firepower. M4 in play as well. But now that you're going to disconnect from this one and jump away, I'm totally okay with that. They do control the big building behind it, so they can just reroute themselves and regroup there. Hit the hangar on the back and its safety net for not only them, but the vehicles as well. You are right in the terms of these open fields. They are looking prime. Teams are looking and players individually looking right throughout the open areas. Liquid on the opposing side will take control of the compound. Seen an M24 lingering as well. You love to see it, especially in the hands of some of these individuals. Just hit it and pip it at the 10-yard line. Oh, okay. Let me just look at players' position. So there's no one really they'll run into. You wouldn't have thought. FaZe are down on the cliff face yellows, just chilling. Eventually they'll have to come in. That's probably why they're not getting too centralized this moment. I think it's a good call rather than just bombing center and dying on arrival. You'll play this a little bit slower. You are going to have the CIS border patrol as you do go through that if they want to actually try and run Ferry Pier Road. Harvey and Tornado Energy are just standing shoulder to shoulder. Fortunately for FaZe, that might be the downfall if they do opt to go that way and don't have the full information. Again, playing at this stage, you are going to know where teams are going to be taking residency. You know, you are going to know that for a moment because of the silent pull-up. It may have been quiet, but FaZe don't need any sound to realize what's going on. They've got a pair of eyes each. They have full clear vision of what's going on. Honestly, like, it just goes to show you can turn your vehicles off as much as you want, but they're already on red alert. They know what's going on. They've read this land pretty damn well.
Yeah, silent but not so deadly is the case over there. We'll see if Lazza can do anything. He's kind of isolated, of course. Lipsin is on the other side. Maybe you can join back up with him. That'd be maybe a potential for his survivability. Look for other options. Maybe a bit more of a prime position they felt they could have got, but obviously with FaZe being there, that's out of the realm of possibility. Yeah, Rips joined Lipsin. Lazza still very much on his own out here, so I wonder what he can do. So that can just kind of fizzle away for now. The big defining point, I feel, is if this keeps going central, if it keeps heading towards those not GAC fields, but just the fields above Ferry Pier. If it does, then you know what game we're in for. It's going to be quiet until it's not. Now, that's actually lent a little bit more towards Quarry than I think most people were expecting. Northern Lights hold a great deal of that southwest territory where WS might just come swing around, or WS could just ramp up towards the Quarry, potentially. And Northern Lights, I love the compound they're going to get here. They'll join up with Batulans, and it becomes a prime territory. Yes, it is surrounded, but you've got hard cover to play under, and it's actually very hard to crash. It's very hard to, it is hard to get away from, but with the circle where it is, I feel like you're going to be in a good enough place. What I am interested in is this. FaZe are about to run that CIS, border check, and it's going to be Chris finding Jeems on the way. This could be bad for Liquid. They're going to be trying to get through here, but there's a trade coming in. Beamy's in this one. Shift W receives the other side of it. Breaks. Oh my god, Mexi. Well, that's not bad. You'll take that. Just finds him in the hay bales. But they're going to try and pop on towards bystanders. Oh my good god, Liquid. This is dangerous. This is deadly. They've made it to the door. Beamy's there. Reload hits. We're
And it looks like our casters have disconnected, James. Here, Awaken is actually getting completely ripped apart from the depths. It looks like they're not going to be in a good situation for this. What do you think, James?
Yep, difficult to deal with. Noki will take some good shots here. Get in, still good some LSLR shots on towards Omakan, and they will go down. Omakan in 16th place. Unfortunate for them. She created, though, the monster that he is, looking for some kills on towards Blaze. Lazza in the line of sight now. Oh, but actually goes down to Lazza. Very nicely done with the M4.
We'll play yellow on the other hand here, bystanders. Oh.
Hello, Frost.
Liquid clears out bystanders, and that was kind of expected. Bystanders only having 2 people. It's super hard to hold this compound by themselves. And meanwhile, we see Ends here on the north side, and they have a pretty good spot, I'd say. I mean, not too many to worry about, but they need to be holding this out. It's a very big compound. It's very hard to hold out.
Actually, Froz, just before you were mentioning to me that bystanders, as you say, have a terrible spot when it comes to these kinds of circles. So Where would a 2 rather be taking in this kind of circle for us? Because that's not the place.
So when you're two people, you want to have a small compound, maybe one house or something where you can hold every angle, or take maybe a shack or something. Even playing in the open would be better than trying to take a center compound that is super big and it's super hard to hold by yourself. Because no matter where you're going to be holding from, there's always going to be angles where you can hold, where people are going to be breaching from. Especially a compound like that, where basically center, everyone wants to get there. So you need to get something else.
Yeah, absolutely. A few shots coming in here from It's Chris. Shift W have been doing fantastic so far. Wildcats having a bit of a harder time on this rotation and having to bomb it a little bit further in. And Etiquette have gotten themselves in the middle of a circle once again. But Wildcats is actually making this little rotation work out, Martin. Not too bad.
Yeah, it's looking pretty real here. Etiquette has a pretty good hold here on the top hill of the Cat Hill, actually. Code Margo has spotted and heard Istanbul Wildcats. Meanwhile, some nades are going to coming out here. That might take down Levent here. We'll see how that's going to connect. He's going to find maybe one. Code Margo's going to find Rupture and potentially also take down Levent here with this spray. Super well played by Code Margo so far. He's going to disconnect the... Oh my god, he's going to hit that! No way! What a use of utility.
Big stuff. BSD actually laying some shots down on towards Navi. All right, there's Tornado Energy actually coming in and rocking up on their position. But actually, Udi are getting a few knocks on towards Tornado Energy very, very quickly. Tornado Energy in a lot of trouble right now with BSD also firing on towards. Example managing to get that pickup. Very nice. Froz, that was very swift, killing off Tornado Energy. But Navi's moving in for the swing around as well.
Now they're coming into the compound here. This is what we're talking about. There's always going to be angles, and we see that even Team Liquid having 3 man up, they're still having trouble to hold it down by themselves. And right now, this is going to be probably a long-drawn battle between these two teams in this compound. It's super hard trying to breach this kind of house as well. And meanwhile, we also see that Blaze is going down a little bit, one by one there towards Razor Edge.
Bit unfortunate. Shift W going out in 14th place. So as much as they've had a pretty decent day so far in terms of accumulating points, catching up to that first place, not exactly the majority of points coming in from this game. EB gets knocked. Navi moving in forwards, and I do believe we have our commentators back. It's time to head over to Pims.
Thanks, guys, and you know what, James, always appreciate your casting. StarCraft doesn't matter, it's all good to go, but, and the others, I guess, you know, not so much them. But what we do have is Navi reaching back in towards Liquid now, how the tables have turned in this compound as Mexi and Clib slightly on the back foot after losing Ibby. Besto is chomping at the bit, you can see the molly in hand, they're clearing the building, but Liquid aren't inside, they're playing those back lines here, Rich.
Yeah, I'm just trying to take stock of who's actually we lost. The bystanders probably going down to Liquid's breach is when we had the unfortunate disconnect. Liquid still holding on by tooth and nail. But having Navi up against them is going to be a very difficult task, especially with all 4 players standing inside the building. It all comes down to how much utility does Team Liquid have. They have, I mean, you'd say 50 seconds, but then it depends where the next circle goes. We'd have to assume at this point it is going to move away from them, TSM. We will jump on board with a different part of the map. This is towards the northern side of the circle. 4 players standing versus all 4 events. Rustamar is about 40% HP, but then should be an easy L tick up. Surprised they don't have any stims on, to be honest with you. Still trying to find out how much... Wondering how much utility Team Liquid has. We can take a look across the board and see where people are actually going to be set up. It gives us the information, gives you guys the information, although we do have the analyst desk I've taken over, so thank you very much for those. Tornado Energy, a few shots in the distance. BSD, last man standing here for the Istanbul Wildcats. Rest of Raise Your Edge. All the way back at the compound. Who else have we lost? There might have been a mental brain fart here. Northern Lights are in there. ETG's in there. Navi.
Oh, I like this. We can catch up afterwards. I'm sure the desk will help us catch up if needs be. But what we can see is phases early on the move. Going to jump in front of WS, potentially see how far they go with this. Keep in mind, ETG are definitely aware of this, though. And FaZe now might get a little bit of attention from ETG. Not too much, but they're going to have to do that while dealing with WS. But I look at Tondo. I'm seeing him moving down south. Not too much, but keep your eyes on it. And it looks like we might lose the Wildcats here. Last heal comes in, I think. So he's going to try and shuffle in. Tornado Energy probably going to find that. But FaZe aren't safe yet. They've put Uber into place, but maybe they really want to hinder WS's progress in this. This is something they're eyeing up. Also, TSM will have to leave the north. There goes BSD. As expected, but it was Na'Vi to find it rather than Tornado Energy. whichever way it was going to go down, probably dead. So WS actually shifting further north. TSM on the move. They're going to try and leapfrog in. Erangel. Oh my god! Stop.
Fail.
Bad parking. Bad parking. Get off the roof. Off the roof, boys. In the building, please. As far as Face finds Maxi, this is back in the west. ETG are hearing all of these shots. If they choose to get involved or not is up to them, however. Fast Face is the most southern part of this, so he has to still worry about northern lights as well in that compound just to the right. So Fast Face has a lot to consider here, and he can't easily join the others when the likes of Kemba, Offstring are still hanging around this area.
They are important kills, though, so I understand why they want to wait here. They're important because that means their entire west is clear. They've got a good safety net. If they can remove them, it's not only points in the bag, but it gives them a good stepping stone for the next circle and how they preempt their fights, because Uber's in a decent position. ETG is lingering and loitering around Uber's position, and that's what becomes a little bit more deadly the further we go into this game. With the depth setting up towards the northwest as well, viable, playable space is becoming quieter. Dink, thank you very much. That's a belter of a shot coming out of Fuzzface. The pressure now on to Kemba to take the man down. The Wanderer's in the back lines and eventually we'll have to deal with it. Spins on a dime and takes him up, even though the first shot came in from the opposing side. That is a beautiful, beautiful response with the Wanderer going down. FaZe Clan, by overstaying their welcome, have been paid off with a nice little bit of territory. There's a bit of time now, unless Adepts decide to get full-blown aggro and third-party this and just cause all kinds of chaos towards the side.
I'm sure they'll be posturing, but you can't easily push this hillside. It's very open to the team even on the top. So FaZe are using the low ground, which is a great idea to get underneath them and be able to maybe potentially find a fight on it if Uber gets close enough. I think 80's just started the contact off there. This stalemate is going to go on for a while between these two. We know it. Even the desk said it, so they're very, very well aware too. Uber, I hope you're going to reload that gun because it's looking real red for me. Unless that's a bug, I'm a little bit scared. If we could jump in with Uber, that'd be great to see if it actually is reloaded or if he's running an empty mag on this. Uber, please don't do this to me. As FaZe looking to get this fight going. Nade's coming in, Noki's there, Tundo's there. Now the smoke wall's going to keep them with a bit of room to play around, using the edges there to get a little bit of a one-way peak. Isolate 80 if possible. They've done that, doesn't matter. 80's better. Quicker on the trigger, and suddenly Tundo's dead. Noki hits the deck, and he knows he's in danger. FaZe are playing a big game here. They've come to play today. It's not Sunday yet, but it's the game before, so Noki can't do anything. Any damage to slow the roll, not much. Philo's flash is going to do nothing as he has to fall away towards the Finns further down the hill. Ents on the move, going to try and pull up. What a bit of timing for them. Going to leapfrog this western battle and move forward. Maybe jump around, get involved, cut off FaZe. That's a really good idea. Great movement from Ents, but they still have to pull it off. The theory's right. The execution could be their downfall.
They've arrived perfectly on time as first contact is made. Uber stands the test of time, though. Squeaky answer back. IT finds Philo, deals with that. Now they can look forward events. Grenade comes in, takes down Uber. So at the moment, Ents are winning this fight, but it's not without damage of their own. Oh my word. FaZe is dropping like flies on every single angle. Gustav, Buzzface, last man standing. This is just demolition from the Finns. And all of a sudden, the action doesn't stop there, Lauren, because Raise Your Edge, they have encountered TSM. They've caught them out in the open as TSM tries to evacuate the building they were holding. The blue is on the move, so all these teams eventually, they still have to continue. There is just fights in abundance. This because everybody's playing Edge at the moment. ETG are getting under fire or rain of fire from the side of the Northern Lights. They have been eliminated at the moment. We're just bouncing between every single argument across this board.
Oh, Miraku desperately tried to get Vard up there. I don't think he could in the end. And TSM had to come in towards Raise Your Edge, and they've been having a dangerous game day today. So down they go, 7th place. I didn't see how many kills they had. I don't think they had too many big engagements, but I like their move towards the north and then shuffling south. It didn't really pay off in the long run, as obviously the circle moved away from. A little unfortunate on that. But let's look at who's left of this. Na'Vi, big boys in the lobby. Liquid holding on with the 2, and we've seen Clib doing wonderfully for himself. A big name now on the team. Tornado Energy, centralized. Ents left with 2, but still deadly. Raise Your Edge, though. Position of power towards the north. They're going to be trying to work their way in further south. I think Shiv's been sent further ahead as Besto starts moving up. Na'Vi, again, maybe looking for more redemption than victory, as this tournament hasn't been the best for them. Obviously not the worst, but it's been a bit middling, which you kind of expect better when you think of Na'Vi.
4 players up and 5 in the bag. Won't be arguing at this one. Playing Edge, it's something that they do enjoy. Raise Your Edge finally forced to move, but thankfully then the circle has been a northern one. It's been extremely favorable. Being on a win would certainly feel good and put you in good stead for tomorrow. Someone like Raise Your Reg in 8th. Nice bit of a jump up the leaderboard. Actually thinking back, Lauren, I didn't see them on the map, so it must have been Omicron who dropped super early, which won't do them any favors when they've just been dropping
I think
in this league table.
The map stream was still up for me, so I was able to see that. But what I do see is that Ents are carrying on, even with their less than ideal numbers. A nade makes me feel as though they're aware that Perfectix is around this area somewhere. The engagements from Na'Vi will probably hinder Rustamar trying to use that side of the map to get around, but lovely shots from Clib. That's what you expect, but it's Tornado Energy on the receiving end, not Na'Vi. And Na'Vi were the ones locking them in, so you got to hope for Liquid's sake. I see 7 smokes. All of them are about to be used to try and leave this position, because they're going to have to find a way to get around all of these players. Rage Rage about to push through. That's good. That takes out Alia. That opens up a great center spot for the likes of Rage Rage. They're going to be chucked with that one, but how do Liquid do this? Oh, they've lost Clip on the way. Mexi, do you make it? Foot to the hill, tries to pull up, gets out of the car, probably hits the deck. He's going to be hunted down by Raise Your Edge. 7 kills, prime position. No one to challenge yet, but Na'Vi are on the way. And Na'Vi might find the fight first. Mexi laying down fire. Great pickup nade. Whizzes past a doozy on the push. Mexi's aware. He's thinking about it. He gets the kill. Excellent from Mexi. It must be nice when your average is excellent. So now he's going to get the heal. Does he have time? Let's look around because Na'Vi are right at the door here. So this will preoccupy Raise Your Edge for a second or two.
Yeah, this has took the complete eye off the ball, unfortunately. Losing 2 players simultaneously like that. And Mexi wants more. Udia is getting tanked up, so that's 3 teams, unfortunately. Ents have split the ranks and they've paid the price. Rustamar picks up Udia. Now there's only 1 man standing. This is just phenomenal work coming out of Mexi to knock 2 like that and also get the... Okay, now he turns around. Now he has the full force of Na'Vi that he has to deal with. There is a smoke they can at least fall into, but I wouldn't expect him to go much further than this. Going to see Tab. Nading it out. Senya's awaiting. More than aware of his presence. And more importantly, this actually pays off for Ents. They can pick up what's claimed off the body boxes and get set up for the next target, which will be, or should be at least, Na'Vi in the end game.
So the actual threat for Mexi is probably going to give...
How does he do it? How does he do it?
How is he winning these? I don't know. Now Na'Vi are hunting him. He has got the whole of Na'Vi on his heels, and he's praying that someone else gets involved. Someone help me, please. It's me against the world. Diggory's behind him. Rustamar's on top, but Mexi just prones. He wants none of this. He's going to put up the smoke wall, and he's trying to live to fight another day. This man doesn't know when he's meant to be dead, but Orange wants to remind him. But if Na'Vi use this high ground, they might run across Rustamar or Perfectix, which could potentially sway their attention. 1 flash goes out. It's a good enough flash to slow them down for a second and take maybe a moment of thought, but 8 smokes, he could put them all down, but he still might not be safe. He might have to fight this the hard way, and he's still looking good on, like, his gear's not bad. Helmet's okay, the armor's okay. Flash towards the low ground, that will catch Senya. He is buying time, but you can see it, the net's getting smaller, but Na'Vi have looked elsewhere. Na'Vi have turned their attention away, so Mexi gets to have a moment of respite, to catch his breath for a second, and we look towards the Finns. Diggory and Rustamar holding the northern quarter of this, keeping complete under control. Perfectix finds Rustamar, but now how do Na'Vi respond? Do they get off the scent of Liquid, or do they carry on forward? This line of smoke will betray Mexi eventually. He can't be kept safe forever. But now Diggory feeling very alone. He's on the other side of this, but I guess he gets the warning signal of Mexi first.
It's flash banged up, so nothing you can do at the moment. I suppose for Na'Vi, it's paying attention to where you know exactly a player's located. Those smokes will dissipate soon. With how Mexi's doing so far, like, honestly, it's frightening to think that he could continue this run that he is. More flashbangs still coming the way of Perfectix, and again, the Lone Rangers could do damage here to Na'Vi, but it feels like the numbers game is just in their advantage. However, I felt that on the side of Raise Your Edge, and then Mexi happened, and in the blink of an eye, they're completely eliminated. Finally, someone puts him out of his misery. I would say it was misery, but for him, it's not. Oh, okay.
It's time to go. Here we go. No. He got Senya, so Diggory's realized what the scenario is. This is perfect timing. And actually, Rustamar isn't flushed. So Perfectix is way on the edge of the circle, keep in mind. He could punish here, but it depends on the angle he goes for. He's playing slow. He's playing quiet. He's going to play endgame if he can. So the res will come in for the Finns. They'll be back up to 2, but it depends on Perfectix. Does he let them get away with this? If he peeks the ridge, he'll probably see him. Res coming in just about now. There it is. Up and away we go. Diggory, the timing couldn't have been better. Extremely well played. Now, Na'Vi are down to, I think, 3 here. They've lost a player completely. They've smoked out. Na'Vi have been unable to dominate this final circle like they normally would.
Certainly put on red alert. Playing a downhill battle, eventually you do have to find this Northern Lights player. be problematic. The shot, the range is devastating. The barrel with the red dot. The grip on the underbarrel as well, so you can at least work with that. They're still aware that this one player is lurking, so it won't be as clean as what they wanted. But Na'Vi sometimes they're so good at... Yeah, that's the thing. He can just work or worm his way in, if you will. Na'Vi are hyper aware of the situation. That's the thing. They just don't want to get boxed in or broken apart by one single snake in the grass.
That's exactly why they want to move the way Perfectix is. It gives them the high ground to play with, but they've actually peeled away from that. Maybe feeling this is where the other snake is. Clearly not fully aware of where everything is. Now the problem is for ENCE, Perfectix is on their side. And Rustamar's not going to see that first. There you go. Perfectix wins the fight. Down goes Rustamar. Low HP though, probably going to be traded on, I can imagine. Diggory wants it, Senya gets it. And now Diggory against the world. Na'Vi pouring towards him, and Na'Vi get it. That's the CIS juggernaut that we know they can be. It was a couple of moments there, though, Rich, that got a little scary.
And it all comes down to just how individually skilled Mexi is. That the man is a machine at the best of times. But enough about him. It's more about Na'Vi's 6th position coming into that map. And with an 18-point game, I mean, that sets them up for success. That'll put them surely into, well, quite easily into the top 5. This puts them back into congestion for that #1 spot. I mean, honestly, we can't ask for another team, really, of that strength to be rounding it out. When you got TSM now thrown into the top 5, you've still got Omicron. Raise your edge. It could just be a bridge too far at 107 points, but still, everyone's stepping up to the plate when it matters most. Everyone is setting us up for what is going to be a truly phenomenal Championship Sunday. We've only got 4 games left. That's it. Winner takes 50 grand, and from there, it just cascades down. There's a 20 grand drop off between first and second. There is a lot on the line for tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect summary. I've got nothing else to say. It's been a pleasure, as always, Rich. And I'll see you tomorrow, bud. We've got some good games. Guys on the desk, thanks for taking over, but you can go back to doing your real job now, which you're about to do.
That's right, forever relegated. I'm fine. I don't care at all. It's fine. We are back. That's right. Na'Vi gets themselves yet another win on the board here when it comes to the overall tournament. But of course, now they really needed these points, and they've been able to step up with that. And actually, watching their road through this, Toffees, I'm going to start with yourself whilst we take a look at the highlights here. Was a great little road. They went to that compound, eventually had to move on up. They already took this fight with bystanders. They were, from start to finish, just on the ball.
And I don't care what iteration of Na'Vi it is. I feel like when Na'Vi is forced to start the fights early, it just snowballs. That's the way that they train. It's the way that they seem to work. That's what we saw in this game. They started with a great play. They got a free loot, as Martin said while we were watching it, and then from there they were actually able to turn that into just a heck of a win.
Yeah, Martin.
Yeah, and on top of that, they were fighting on the east side and actually came somewhat late into the later stages of the circle. Or 4th shift, they decided to breach into the compound that Liquid earlier had breached on. And actually on the west side, rather on the somewhat more scary breach areas on the east side. So they actually managed to do that very well. So that was very nicely executed. And then it just ended on who's the king of the hill. And a lot of the teams tried to be, a lot of teams, they got a lot of points from it. Basically was pushed out and was contested by Windstreak, as we saw on the west side. Managed to get a few kills from that as well. Nice sprays from out from Phosphase in that situation. But I want to say, though, now here, they executed this to perfection here. They were in a rough situation in 3rd circle on the edge, but managed to do a really good macro play, positional play, to get them in a good footing inside the next circle that made them give them the win here.
Yeah, definitely so. Frost, what are your thoughts?
I mean, we saw Na'Vi playing really well, as said, but you also got to look how they played against Mexi. Mexi was holding them out, but that was also good from Na'Vi's side. They didn't want to overstep their boundary. They were taking slow. They were making sure, okay, we need to do this without losing people. They did Mexi did get a knock on Senya, of course, but that got traded off straight away. But that is also so important, that they don't overstep it, don't rush it, take their time, and still holding it in control.
And here are the points coming on in. Actually, a few more points here for our 9th through 16th compared to some of the other games, so not as top-heavy for this one. Let's take a look at our 1 through 8. Na'Vi with 18 points, but yet again, Team Liquid with an 11-pointer, and ENCE, who was already up towards the top, gets 14 points on the board. This, in terms of a 4-game day, Martin, is insane from Team Liquid. 14-14, 21-11. Whew, holy moly.
Yeah, this is straight up 60 points for them in 1 day in 4 games. That's an average of 15. That's a win and 5 kills per game average. That's an insane one here. But I want to wrap up with Na'Vi here. They're able to come back nicely. They had 11 points so far from this one. They're going to get 18 from this. 29 points in a day. That's better than day 3 and a lot better than day 4 where they did. Mexi here with 6 kills, Foss with 5. Amazing players, former teammates. They were able to play very nicely in this one, and I would have been curious to see how well they'd have been stacked up against each other if they're able to continue and play a little bit further with more guys alive. But Na'Vi, with this, they potentially could like contest the top 4 again after our last week with 3 points. I was kind of scared for them to kind of stay out of the top 4 and be into the bigger prize pool.
All right, let's get to an interview then with Bestalok from Na'Vi. Hello, Besto. Can you hear us?
Yes. Hello.
Perfect. All right. So, firstly, congratulations on that win. I want to ask you about the situation going up against Mexi, because he was in a scary spot towards the end, being a snake, and you guys were taking it very slowly to take out Mexi. So, how did you guys approach that situation towards the end?
We know about everyone, like NLT, Ants, and Liquid, and we just decided to wait a bit to play this zone, this last circle, and just, I don't know, I was at flank, I didn't kill Mexi, and I don't know what's happening on right flank of me, so it's, for me, it wasn't just interesting to fight against Mexi.
Fair play. Martin, a question?
Yeah, I want to ask Besto, what was the kind of situation when you guys were on the east side in the compound, and then you decided to crash middle? Did you specifically go for the west side of that compound you crashed because it's easier to breach, or what was the situation like?
From the start, it's our compound. Taps loots it, and we know it's how it's build it, and we know where to crash better. So
okay,
so we did it.
Awesome.
Okay, Froz.
So yeah, with 1 day left now, we have a few teams that are surrounding you guys on the leaderboard. Who do you feel is like the biggest enemy for you guys for tomorrow, and why?
I think everyone is enemy for us because Shift W play really well, FaZe, Liquid, and everyone from top 8 plays for good at this game, and we try to do our best. That's everything I could say right now.
Okay, and Toffee's final question?
Well, I just want to get a feel for what tonight looks like. You've got 4 games left, you've got a bit of a climb ahead of you, and some defense because the teams behind are going to be angry. What does it look like for Na'Vi coming off tonight, getting ready for tomorrow, and knowing you only got 4 games left to get the big win?
We just need to sleep good, to have a good day tomorrow. Just I can't say everything, but we would ready for tomorrow.
Well, you're very capable of being able to make up the room. So thank you very much, Besto. Any final shout-outs before we let you go?
Yeah. I want to say to our fans that sorry for our previous week games, and thank you everyone who supports us. So, thank you. Bye.
All right. Thank you very much, Besto. Good night, and we'll see you tomorrow for more game.
Thank you, man.
Good luck.
Perfect. That was Besto from Na'Vi after getting themselves a very strong win here off the back of things. And again, they were kind of nomadic in some of their movements throughout this. The circle, of course, Froz, was favorable to their initial drop spot, but in the end, they were constantly moving, constantly finding fights, and got themselves plenty of points from it.
So getting that initial circle with your drop is sometimes the hardest way to play the game, because you can take basically wherever you want on the map, but if you don't take the right spot where it's gonna end, that means that you took the wrong spot, and you're gonna have to make up for it the whole time, and that's gonna be in the back of your head the whole time. So I feel like them being able to actually move around, are you saying, for every circle, but still being able to get the win, even if it's only 8 kills, and we saw them getting 2 very early on bystanders, that's really good.
Absolutely. Martin, looking at how things coming into tomorrow, of course, FaZe been knocked off their perch here. Obviously, that's not going to feel good for them. Thankfully, this last game, they got quite a few points, though, as we take a look at the standings. And now Team Liquid is in first place. After having a huge cushion for FaZe, Martin, they are now not in the leader.
No, and it's looking rough for FaZe, because obviously after having a rough performance, the next day is going to be hard to get into. The momentum that Liquid can build off today going into tomorrow is going to be massive for them. Shift W also within reach. If that performance continues for Shift W as well, they could potentially also be within the kind of jump distance of FaZe. Even though Shift W had their roughest day so far, 20 points, they still have 5 more points than FaZe, so they're still climbing on them. But overall, really interesting day. That our top 7 is really performing extremely well. Omakan had a rough day. That's going to put them outside of our top 5. But looking from TSM and all the way up to first, our top 6 can change a lot going into tomorrow, and that means massive change in terms of share of the prize pool as well. So tomorrow's going to be extremely exciting. I am ecstatic too, and I can't wait to get to start, honestly.
Toffees, what you think about the top?
I mean, I'm going to be honest. This is where I want to see FaZe Clan going into tomorrow. Not because I wish them ill, but because I think it's where FaZe plays the best. Like, there's now there's a $20,000 incentive to go out there and hunt, to play aggressive, to look for kills. And when FaZe is doing that versus kind of being a little more defensive or passive, which I felt today it vibed a little more that way, that's when they're at their best. So I genuinely look for FaZe to come out tomorrow and absolutely lambast. The problem that's going to happen is name a more iconic duo than Liquid and one person crawling in the final circle. And we saw that happen today, and Mixie almost came out with second somehow. Like, this is Liquid, and they're on fire right now.
Yes, they are, and the changes have been shown here when it comes to the championship prediction. This is that is a massive shift, Martin, from what we saw at the beginning of the day.
That's insane. Like, that's nearly 10 times more, 9 times more than they had before starting today. So that's massive for them. But again, 60 points in one day is absolutely nuts. It's nothing that. And also considering, projections and stuff like that, when they had day 1, day 2, you had a 10-point day and a 13-point day. Them being in such a good kind of form right now is so good. Imagine if they had, a good week 1, they would have won the tournament already with 40 points or something like that. But it's looking crazy, and they're setting themselves up nicely for tomorrow. And I'm extremely excited to see who's going to take it home tomorrow.
Absolutely. Froz, hats off. You predicted very, very well. Well done.
I mean, it's just like usual, I know who to predict. No, but joke aside, it's really good to see that it's changing up a little bit in the leaderboard. And we know that Liquid, just like any other teams, kind of none of the teams really like to be in the first place coming into the last day. Everyone wants to be chasing. They don't want to be the one who's actually holding the first place, because it's so much easier to just try to chase. It's bigger motivation, so to say. And right now, it's not just Liquid, I'd say, that is and FaZe, but we have so many teams towards the top. And as Martin said, it's anybody's game on the top 6 tomorrow. And Liquid just showed us today what you can actually do in one day. And on top of that, they only got 1 win. Remember when Na'Vi got 4 wins? I mean, anything could still happen tomorrow.
Remember that? I remember, Froz. I remember. All right, well, thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much, Toffees, as well as our special guests, for joining us. We are done for the day, and we shall be back tomorrow. Same time, same place, where not only do we have our last 4 games, but we also crown our champion here for PCS2 EU. And everybody can get all their esports points as well. That'll be exciting stuff. But more importantly, somebody becomes a champion. We shall see you tomorrow for more PCS2 Europe action.
Elige tu equipo favorito. Yo tengo el mío. Vamos, Liquid.
Hello, PUBG Esports fans. Let's go DSM.
Hey guys, I want to wish FaZe the best of luck. Bring it home, lads. Let's go.
Let's go, Liquid.